Hey, look. The foam is in. Pretty soon we're not going to have echoes anymore. We've been talking about the foam for like weeks and weeks. I just ordered it and I didn't realize how little foam I was going to get. So now I got to get some double stick tape. I'll throw the foam up and then start to slowly work it. Probably hit this wall, this ceiling, these two walls, that main wall there, and then put the posters and stuff on all these other walls. Oh yeah, that hurts. So much pain. Oh, so much pain. Oh.
Well, maybe if you didn't hurt yourself.
Oh, you kissed my ass. It's so hard sometimes. Just making sure my legs and shit are good. Oh. Testing. That's my favorite. I really like whispering into the microphone because then I feel like I'm on like old like 1970s, 1980s sexy talk radio where they're like, all right, and now back, folks. Up next, we have a nice young lady. And you're like, oh, where are we going with this? Hi, welcome back, Life on Record. I'm here with Dustin. Dustin, pronounce your last name because I can't.
Makuch.
He said cooch. I always say Makuch. I always go Dustin Makuch.
No.
So what's the origins of that last name?
Ukrainian.
Ooh, that's sexy. Do you got any sexy Ukrainian family members?
No.
Do you have any objectively sexy family members?
No.
Are you an only child?
Between my parents.
Am I poking you too hard right now?
Isn't that the point?
Just a little bit sometimes. That's actually the point and the poke. Oh, Jesus. That's how we get here. Oh, jeez. I forgot to go get good coffee this week. I'm extremely apologetic because I only went to the gym one time because of the, So I was supposed to go to Canal Town because that's where CJ told me to go to get some good coffee right by the gym. So we'll be purposely making a trip there this week to make sure that we have good coffee in the future. Not this hazelnut.
So you give me the shit coffee.
No, it's just still good coffee. This just isn't... You should be happy I'm not giving you the Kirkland coffee. That's what kind of friend you are.
Thank you.
He's so modest. So I actually know Dustin from the gym. We met, and he is just such a shy, quiet, beautiful man. And I don't really know much about him because he's so quiet. I just know he's shy and quiet, and he can play some football.
It's part of the mystery.
Is that the mystique right there? Is that how that works? You've got like a veil around you,
yeah.
But in reality, you're actually talking really loud, and there's just enough baffling around that it just goes. And everyone's like, "Did Dustin say anything?"
Pretty much. I'm like Kenny from South Park. You can't understand a word I'm saying.
Is that how that works? Damn it. That's a nice South Park reference. I hope Dan gets that one later. So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Black River, New York.
Where's that?
Up about 2.5 hours north, near Watertown.
Oh, okay. So what brought you to Rochester then?
Fischer.
What'd you go to St. John Fisher for?
Business.
Yeah, how did that go, right?
Not as well as I wanted it to.
No, I apologize ahead of time. I am still medicated, so I might slur my words a little bit. Sorry, guys. Business. So you went to St. John Fisher for business. Isn't there a lot of like other colleges around Watertown that could do good? I mean, St. John Fisher's a really good school.
Well, I started at Utica College.
Oh, okay.
Lasted about 1.5 years there. I don't really know why I went to Fisher, to be honest.
Yeah, did you get like good money, scholarships, or anything like that?
No.
Did you go for sports?
I did play lacrosse there, but I wasn't like recruited there.
Oh, that's right. You did play lacrosse. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
I had a few friends that went there and just good high school friends, and I was like, well, this is where I'm going to go.
Huh, interesting.
And being a young 19-year-old kid set on what I was going to do,
yeah,
I just went.
No, I know exactly how that is. Go in as a 17-year-old to a $40,000+ school, and you don't get any money to go there. That's one of those like, oh, I made a bad decision as a child.
10 years later, it's not paying off.
Your pocketbook gets a little tighter around this time of the year, right?
Yeah.
So, growing up where you were, what kind of town was it? Was it like a big town? Was it more like Rochester? Was it more like, Rush?
Small town. Like,
everybody knew everybody.
Little village.
Was there more animals than people?
Pretty much. My high school there is right next to a chicken farm. So every spring you're sitting in class and it's blowing.
It's blowing. And what are you referring to with the blowing for anybody who doesn't know?
The stench.
The stank.
Stank.
The chicken stank. Did you guys get a discount on chickens or no?
No.
No? Did you guys get the good chicken nuggets at school? They like bring them over like fresh off the press. You're like, oh, they just killed these this morning.
I don't know if we had chicken nuggets at school.
No, we did. We must have just been better than you.
Probably.
We also had that Mexican pizza, yo. Whoa!
We did have the Mexican pizza.
I don't even know what that shit is, but I want it again. I know it was like cardboard with shit on it, but
yeah.
I don't even care anymore. It, like when they would do the Mexican pizza, there was a few times of the year that I would actually use my lunch money because I would get like $10 a week to go buy lunches, or I would have to make lunches at home. It would be for Mexican pizza or the day after turkey and gravy. You don't do it the day of, because what they do the day after is they put it on the salad bar as the leftovers from the day before, and there's no limit to the amount that you can take. So you do it the day after, and you just mound one of those crappy styrofoam trays with as much turkey and gravy and biscuits as you possibly could stuff on it, because even as a child, I was a fat kid.
I think we all were.
You think we all were? I used to take my mother's Jenny Craig bars and like Easy Diet bars just because there was no snacks. And I would just stuff them into my bag, and it's like there's like a certain allotment for me. So like I would look in the jar and I'd see them, I'd be like, okay. And then a couple weeks later, I'd be like, oh, I'll take one. And then a couple weeks later, I'm like, still the same number. So I would just pound them all because no one's eating them. I was like, you know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And I am both the goose and the gander.
Is that why you're so big?
That's why I'm so small. No, I'm surprised I haven't lost any weight after being out of the gym for so long. And I'm not really eating anything because my appetite's dog shit.
No.
The good news is I'll diet for a little bit. I'll go down to like 220 and I'll just hang out there. I'm not really going to diet this year. I always diet so hardcore. Not this year.
Yeah.
It's going to take me so fucking long to recover anyway.
I tried to diet for about 2 weeks and then it just doesn't happen.
The thing with diets too is I always tell everybody, like, if you diet and it sucks, stop. Because it shouldn't suck.
Yeah.
Which is why I like keto. I'm not hungry. I don't get sick. I take the supplements I need.
I don't do a lot of fats though.
You learn to.
Yeah.
No?
I like my carbs.
You like your carbs?
I like my
That's
carbs.
okay, because there's some good high carb diets that work. You just got to be super duper duper restrictive on those fats, and you got to make sure those carbs do not go over the limit. Like Tim from the gym, Tim Blackman, the Masters bodybuilder. You've seen Tim.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he does high carb, low fat, medium protein, like high carb. Like I think one of his carb days, I think he was telling me is like 600 grams. I was like,
Jesus.
I was like, dude, you weigh under 190 pounds. I was like, 6 grams. That's like all of your allotment for the 600. That's like your full allotment for the day. He's like, today's my heavy carb day. I was like, I don't know what that means. That's crazy.
His other days must be like
2 to 3 or something like that. Yeah,
which isn't bad.
That's
Especially
still
if he's dieting.
1,200 calories. But he diets really slowly. Like he starts in January, and his show's not until like September, November.
He's shredded though.
But he's powerful too.
Yeah,
he's so powerful.
Super strong. And
I
he's
told
so
him.
like, what's the word I'm looking for? He's so like perfect. Like
He's been
his
doing this for
movements
so
are
long,
so
too. Oh, yeah.
fluid.
I keep telling him, I'm like, you need to come back to powerlifting, man. Because he holds some New York State records in Masters powerlifting.
Yeah.
Fun fact of the day. Yeah, he holds a couple. Like, he was telling me his lifts. He's like, I've never really been the strongest guy. I was like, well, give me your numbers at your weight. And he was telling me. I was like, for Masters at that weight, I was like, that's awesome. I was like, even at my weight, at my age, that's still good lifts. You know, he's like, I never really had like over 500 pound squat. I was like, how many people in this gym have over a 500 pound squat? And I just pointed to myself. I was like, there's not very many of us. Like,
There's maybe like 3 or 4.
yeah, same thing with the bench. Anybody whose bench is over 315, same thing. But he had like, I think his squat was like just over 5. His deadlift was a little over 6. And I believe his bench was somewhere in the low 3s. And I was like, as a guy weighing in under 180 pounds, as a master, like, those are good numbers, especially
really
for somebody
good
over
numbers.
45. Like, Jesus. He told me how long he's been lifting the one day. I was like, I wasn't even born when you started lifting. How sad is that?
Of course.
That's crazy, though. So, you grew up in a pretty small town next to a chicken farm. And did you do sports games? What was life like growing up where you were?
Where I was, we played football just about every day, wiffle ball in the front yard. I basically lived at my neighbor's house.
Okay.
The Rosentoskis. They had about 8 kids.
Ooh, whoa, they were busy.
Yeah. I mean, we rode bikes. We'd ride our bikes into the village. We'd go to the grocery
Oh, there's a village?
store.
That's awesome,
Yeah,
dude.
so we were a little outside the village.
That's so cool.
The Black River is a village.
Oh, shit.
And then Carthage is the village where the high school is.
Say it again.
About
Say
10
it
minutes away.
sexy for me. Carthage.
Carthage.
There you go. It's like you're like Bostonian Roman. We go to Carthage.
But yeah, I mean, we just play sports every day. We play video games. I mean,
and you were an only kid, right?
I mean, I have my stepbrother, or my half brother, and my half sister. Which,
Did they live with you?
for the most part, yeah, they were what 8 or 10 years older.
Wow!
My brother's like 8 years older. My sister's about 10 years older. So they were out of the house a little bit, but as a kid, they were there.
So are they half on your dad's side or your mom's side?
Mom's side.
Your mom's
I
side.
have 2 more on my dad's side.
Okay, so who
Brothers.
did you grow up living with?
My brother and sister. My
Parents
mom's
wise,
side.
your mom's.
Oh, but my mom and dad.
Okay, so you were split.
What?
You said half siblings.
So they are half siblings.
Oh, so they're
to me, but
from different.
Yes. Yeah.
And then your parents are your parents living with you as
Yes.
your parents.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
I thought it was splitsies.
Yeah, little complicated.
No, I could have drawn it out for you. You should probably just do like a Venn diagram next time.
I've seen one of those in years.
Ever since one of my buddies made a reference to Venn, I was like asking him questions like, let me just show you. I'm going to express this through a Venn diagram. I was like, dude, that's perfect. That's brilliant. That's like, I've been constantly thinking about my brother-in-law. He was telling about how my sister fell down and she hurt herself. And he's like, yeah, the rise over run was just a little bit too much. And I was like, dude, way to bring it back to math. Like, when's the last time somebody's used a math reference like
seventh
that?
grade math.
Oh my God, it's so perfect. So I've been thinking about that nonstop for like a week now. I was like, God damn, that guy pulling out the rise over run on me.
That is a good reference.
It's so funny. So obviously growing up as a pretty active kid and stuff like that, going in through school and stuff like that. How were you education wise?
Average.
You were an average guy?
I was an average guy.
Turn this back feed down for some reason. I'm getting a ton of back feed. Oh, it's because the heater's on. I can hear it right now.
The heater.
Headset. Yeah, the heater. The heater. That's a fucking cool. Are you gonna start saying that when the Patriots in the Super Bowl again?
The heater?
The heater. Come on, get the keys.
Forgetting about the curveball, Tom. Give him the heater.
Give him the. That's so funny.
I love that movie.
Did you play sports for high school as well? Obviously, as a pretty active kid, you're gonna guess that when somebody converts to middle school, high school, something like that, they're gonna be playing sports. And if they've been playing their whole life, typically they're gonna be pretty good at something.
Yeah, I was all right. I played soccer. I played lacrosse.
Yeah. Was that your passion? Was lacrosse?
Yeah, I should have stuck with soccer more.
Why?
Just playing it like after high school. I played in a men's league, and like,
Oh shit!
it was.
You still play now?
I would like to.
I don't see why
If I
not.
could find some people to play with. I got a couple of buddies that want to play, but
Aaron at the gym, the guy who works out with the chains.
Yep.
He's part of a men's soccer league.
yeah, that's what he was telling me.
Talk to him. He's probably got contacts. I
He
think he's
said-
a forward too. So
Yeah, he said it was like super competitive.
probably that's not a
I
bad
don't
thing
know if
though.
I'm that good.
Kind of bring you up a little bit. What position were you?
I was a right back, defensive. back.
Yeah, I was a left back.
Nice.
I really wanted to play forward or midi, but I was apparently too slow or not committed. They never really specified. They just let me know that sitting on your elbows in the backfield was not permissible. Because when the ball's not coming to me, I got bored.
Yeah.
I had problems. As an adult, I still have fucking
you
problems.
do.
Let's just be frank. Let's just be frank.
I played a little bit of midi, but it was
Yeah.
a little running, too much running for me.
That was the thing I always liked because midi was both forward and defense, offense and defense, and you got a lot more involvement overall. I never wanted like when we were in when we would play through gym and stuff like that. I always was put as a left side forward. And to me, that was a bullshit answer because that meant I could only play on the overside of the field, and that's on the left side. And if everybody's righties, the ball chances are not going to be on my side of the field.
Yeah, if it's coming in from the right side,
That's-
too.
yeah,
You gotta
exactly.
Play with your left.
So I pretty much never got anything. I was like, this is how you guys do this, right? It was like when we got later into high school and stuff, and we would play like ultimate and stuff, because I was a pretty skinny kid. I wasn't super fast, but I had like pretty good endurance. When we'd play ultimate frisbee, everybody would always like make fun of me and stuff. Like, come on, runner. Come on, it's what you do. You run. Let's run. Run. I'm like, fuck you. Leave me alone. I just want to do gym class, bitch. You don't even do anything. That was the worst part is when the kids who weren't active were talking shit to you.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, bitch, you don't even play a sport. Get the fuck out of here. So in high school, you did lacrosse, you did soccer. You wish you had played more soccer, unfortunately. So did you end up playing more lacrosse? Mm-hmm. Why didn't you play football in high school?
I was just a soccer kid growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I always played soccer all the way through youth, all the way up, and I don't know. I never really wanted to play football.
Oh.
I played 8-man football in like 5th grade, and I wasn't bad, but I just like soccer more.
I wish they would do an indoor. I would even do an indoor flag league, but the only indoor flag leagues I have are 4-man. That is
Really?
not a team.
4-man?
Yeah, you're allowed a Q and then 2, and then the quarterback's allowed to run when he's pressured. I was like, I get it that you don't want too many grown-ass men on a small field, but 5 should be the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And it's just because like they'll do the same field with youth, like I'm gonna say like 11, 12, 13-year-old kids, like, and they're not huge, but they'll run 7s, and it's like they're not gonna take up the whole field, so the difference should be able to be made up. Let the adults come play, because there's that new joint out near Henrietta area like that. It's a really big indoor facility. It's huge, and there's still only a men's 4s. I was like, what kind of game is that?
Yeah, that's not fun.
You can literally, as a men's 4s, just let one dude streak and probably throw the ball to the end zone every single time.
Well, you can even go play volleyball with 6 people. How are you gonna play football with 4?
You talking like hot shots and stuff?
Yeah.
Hot shots. Do you do any of the town recreation leagues?
No.
No, you don't do like the kickball, volleyball, soccer. No. Why did I think you guys did? You and your girl did any of those the town leagues? Probably just thinking about Cheese, because Cheese does all that stuff. And you guys are quiet together, so
Yeah.
I kind of blend you two together. So what's going on with your programming? Actually, I was going to ask you about that because I've noticed you put on some pretty good sides lately.
I just started at PH3 again.
And PH3, that's the Chris Gethin's workout?
No, that one's Lane Norton.
Ooh, okay, yeah. Lane Norton is the truth.
So more powerlifting, but there's still some bodybuilding principles involved.
So I'm not really like very educated on any of Lane's styles. I'm a big Lane Norton fan. I just never followed any of his protocols. Like, what is PH3?
So it's power hyper. I can never say that
Hypertrophy.
word. Hypertrophy. Training. So it's based on the big 3. So that's
Okay.
why it's 3. But basically you bench squat 3 times a week,
Holy
deadlift
crap.
twice a week, and then there's some accessory work in between.
And I'm assuming it's not a 5-day rotation. It's probably a 4-day.
It turns into 5, but it's like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then an off day Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Man, I hate that. Just give me all in a row.
Well, the nice thing is, like, you can take, like, if you don't have time, you can take like some of the work and move it to another day.
Oh, so it's kind of like low impact-ish. So like, give me a breakdown. Like, what did you do this past week or the week before? Like, give me some sort of weekly breakdown.
So Monday's all 3: squat, bench, deadlift.
And that's it. Boom.
Yep.
Nice and easy.
Higher reps. I think we did 9.
That's interesting.
9
Okay.
this week. And then Tuesday was just all accessory. So upper body accessory, 2 sets flat bench, 2 sets of lat pull downs, 2 sets shoulder press, biceps, and some BFR.
What's the percentage for the weight on them? Like, is it medium? Is it light? Is it heavyweight? For the accessory days, yeah.
The accessories, it's usually pretty heavy.
Okay.
It changes. So Tuesday is like 6 to 8.
Okay, so it's more of like a medium range.
Thursday, Friday is 12 to 15.
Yeah, so you've got your medium reps and then you got your heavy reps. You start off Monday kind of shocking the system with volume. Tuesday with a little less volume, and then obviously you're filtering the rest of the other stuff in throughout the week.
Yeah.
Does it periodize at all, or does it remain the same throughout the whole time?
No, it periodizes.
Okay, so that's always interesting to me is how some of these programs periodize. And okay, I have to ask you, as a person who has a hard time sticking to a program because I always want to go do different shit.
Yeah.
How do you stick to your program?
Just you see the progress, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, because the nice thing about this is there's AMRAPs built in.
Yeah, and the AMRAP, for those who don't know, is...
As many reps as possible.
Yep. That's
So-
good. I like that. I like how you said that, too. You're confident about it. You're like, I'm just going to read this off real fast.
So, like, next week, there's going to be an AMRAP of after 3 sets of squat at 75% or 72 or whatever it is. If you do as many as you can, and then, like, if you hit maybe 1 or 2 over, it'll stay as, like, the same increase, like the normal increase. But if you hit, 8 or 10 or whatever, 2, 3, 4 more than you were supposed to get, then it'll increase by, the percentage will increase by 1.5 points because you're getting stronger.
How often do you do the AMRAPs?
It's every couple of weeks.
So it's kind of like a pseudo max out with volume instead?
Yeah.
That's a pretty interesting concept. Huh. So you do your rotations, and then every few weeks you're kind of beta testing one of the lifts to see if it's making progress or not?
Yep.
Now, what if you miss it? Do you deprogram?
Yep.
Ooh,
so if you
hurts.
miss it, you either, at the end of the first month, you will just repeat the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing second month.
So the biggest problem that I have with programs, and maybe you can attest to some of this because I'm willing to bet it's probably the same across the board, is I don't mind having the increase week to week, but when I have a program designed where I don't feel like I'm stressing enough physically, where I leave and I'm like, oh, fucking, I could have emptied out way more of the tank in the gym. Does that ever get in the way of you? Like, does that get in your head?
Not with this. I mean, it has in the past, and
Mm-hmm.
I've just dumped the program and gone to my own thing.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just doing this again because I've done it before.
Yeah, you mentioned that
and
before.
I've seen the progression, and I've seen the stress that it causes. I mean, I didn't get bored. I didn't, want to do something else.
Do the accessories change week to week, or are they almost always the same?
It gives you variable. Like, so you can pick between a couple different things.
So it might be like you're doing a back row movement, so it might be like barbell, T-bar, dumbbell, pick one.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. That gives you at least some of the fluidity to kind of change stuff, and then based on the gym that you're at too, kind of gives you options based on what people are doing.
Yeah.
That's not a bad way to do it too.
And then, like with the more volume day, the 12 to 15, it might be like a fly movement instead of like a flat bench dumbbell.
Just so you're still engaging the chest, but you're not really doing hard pressing.
Right.
Do you have any injuries in the gym that kind of force you to kind of alternate how you do things, or no?
Not really.
You lucky man.
I mean, shoulders sore, knees get sore, but
Athlete.
yeah.
It's common, yeah. That's always nice, though. I always admire when everybody doesn't have an injury or anything like that. 'Cause
Not yet, anyway.
once you get that first one, dude, it's just downhill, man. And I, unfortunately, sustained my first injury when I was a freshman in college. I was doing skull crushers. I had never done them before, and apparently I had pushed my back too hard, like rounded too hard to lock into place. And when I went down for one of the reps, I felt all my lats lock up. And then I dropped the weight behind my head, and I laid there for probably like 30 minutes. And then when I got up, I ended up going to my bedroom, and I laid on the floor for 2 days. Didn't get up for 2 days.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was thankful that I didn't have a roommate at the time because I just stayed still. And I had my neighbor, he would bring me food and stuff like that. And I would crawl to the bathroom and use the restroom. It was so bad. Ever since then, downhill.
Really?
Doing skull crushers like a stupid head.
Yeah, that's an odd one to start injuring yourself on.
Who would have thunk? I always thought I was a powerhouse when I was in college. I was like, yeah, I'm so strong. Yeah.
Didn't we all?
When I did 200 pounds on flat bench the first time, I had a buddy take a photo of it. I was like, I can't do videos on my phone. Can you take a photo of this? And I had him take the photo of it, and I looked at it years later. I was like, God damn, kid, you were tiny. I can't even believe you picked that weight up.
Well, I remember my first year of college, we were doing testing for lacrosse.
Yeah.
I couldn't even bench 135. So, because I was a soccer player, I didn't lift in high school.
Yeah, it's a weird testament, though. Because now, with all these high school sports and stuff, it is mandatory that you, as an athlete, work out.
Yep.
So, like, as a soccer player, obviously you're going to do more proficient work with back, and they're going to do more, higher volume stuff, and then you're probably going to tank some power legs. But what... You were probably going to be able to attest to this. I'm trying to bring you in. As I wish that when I had started working out, I did not get the same program that I had been given. I was given a generic 3 program. So what that means is you lift every body part, 1 exercise, 3 sets of 10. You might warm up your whole body for a couple things, but that was literally it. So it was 3 sets of squat, 3 sets of bench, 3 sets of dumbbell curls, 3 sets of tricep pushdowns, 3 sets of pull-ups, 3 sets of abs, and everything was 3 by 10.
Yep.
No progression, no change. It was just every single week you would do it. And I ran cross country, and I mean, yeah, there's granted that's probably like one of the bigger
You ran
things.
cross country?
I was a cross country and track and field guy, yeah. I was 116, 17 pounds in high school. I was like 5'7". I was tiny. But that was the progression. And one of the things that I did on my own is every single time I'd go in the gym, I would try to add 2.5 pounds to a lift. Over 4 years, that's almost nothing. But I ended up doing it, and I thought I was tough shit with my 95-pound bench press at 118 pounds, 117 pounds. Nothing. Absolutely fucking. I'm watching kids in my high school doing 185 pounds or something like that. And then you listen to guys like the West Side Method and shit like that, where he goes, I train mixed martial arts fighters to do powerlifting, not so they get bigger, so they get stronger. And it's like every athlete in every single sport, I don't care what it is, fishing, golfing, whatever it is, everyone can benefit from power training, becoming a more powerful version of you at your weight. If someone had been like, hey, Kyle, you're in high school right now. You're not going to put on any size because you don't eat enough. Your genetics have it so that right now you're just burning so many fucking calories and not growing. You're going to just lift the big 3 for the next 4 years. Then I wouldn't have gone into college having a bench press at 95 pounds and a squat at 95 pounds and having a 0-pound deadlift. I didn't start deadlifting until after college.
I didn't start deadlifting until about a year ago.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's something that should have, like... Gym teachers and physical education majors should be expressing to people the importance of weight training and resistance training. Not necessarily weight training, just resistance training as a whole. Mm-hmm. Because it is hyper beneficial in preventing injuries. Like as a runner, if I had a coach who had been like, do the big 3, or if I had somebody be like, 1 day a week you're just going to work legs. You're going to do ham curls, leg extensions, squats. You're going to do, little calf exercise and stuff like that. I guarantee you my progress would have been so much more significant than it was just doing generic 3x10s.
But that's just people who don't have any knowledge of...
But as a physical coach, a sports coach, or a gym coach, you should know this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, gym teachers I don't think are taught that. I mean,
Why though? It's part of your major.
Yeah.
What are you taught? I want to know what a gym teacher is taught. And the first thing you should be taught is don't be fucking obese. Because all you're doing is setting a poor example for your students.
Yep.
Oh, bro, I have a condition. Bitch, I got a condition. But I don't want to poke or prod or anybody, but I have seen so many overweight or under athletic gym teachers. Gym by nature, gymnasium, athletic teachers. You are training athletes. You need to be a prime example. You don't need to be the best example. You just need to be an example.
Right.
Of, hey, I know what I'm... You wouldn't trust a skinny chef, right?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Why would you trust a fat trainer? Something like... It boggles my mind that it's permissible at all. It just now... Fuck. I keep taking this shit off and it's so dry under there. I'm just finally starting to get feeling back in the top. There was like surface bruising. I thought that I had an infection because it was all yellow. And it's like, no, it's just surface bruising. It's just coming up. And I touched it. I was like, okay, there's no feeling there. It's just the nerves. They're still dead.
Yeah.
I mean, does it bother you at all or anything like that? Like, did you have overweight or uninformed teachers or fucking gym teachers or coaches or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, former athletes that just kind of stuck around the town and became who they are. Which there's nothing wrong with who they are. I mean, they were great people.
Yeah, but if you're going to be shaping young minds.
But I wasn't taught any sort of training. Like I said, I didn't lift in high school because no one taught me how.
Yeah.
There was no direction, and I feel like that's a lot of places.
Now, do you feel like the stigma is true in the gym where everybody sticks to themselves, the big guys are assholes, and nobody's in there to help? They're all in there for their own gains and to get the bitches, as it were.
No, not all the time.
Not all the time. He goes, not all the time.
I mean, sometimes you'll look at guys and be like, all right, that guy's kind of a dick. And then...
Yeah, you can label it.
Like 2 years later, you find out, oh, he's actually a nice guy. It just took
2 years to judge the book by its cover.
It took a second to say hello. And
it's so true. Know? It's so sad, but it's so fucking true. It breaks my heart, man.
Yeah.
But then you'll go, and I'm not going to say that's the same for all gyms. I'm going to say that's the same for some gyms. Like, let's use our gym as an example versus some mainstream gym that I'm not going to name, where the last part of the name might be the word fitness. So you go into those gyms and everybody's in there for themselves. And I get it. Some people work out best when you're not talking, you're not making acknowledgement. But everyone's in there for themselves, yet every 10 seconds they're looking in the mirror at themselves.
Yeah.
They're checking out somebody through the bounce on the mirror. They're doing some nonsense bullshit. They're peacocking for nothing. And then they look the same for months, years even. And they just do it now, and it becomes a part of their life as a nothing. They don't change. They don't become better. They don't become faster. They don't become stronger. They become, nothing grows or changes. And then our gym is still kind of in the same boat because we're technically like a college gym.
Yeah, we have a vast culture in our gym, I guess.
What is it? What do you mean by that?
I mean, we've got big guys, we've got small, we've got cardio. I mean, we have those people that have been there. I've been there for about 3-4 years now, and some of them have been too, and they're still the same size. I mean,
we got dudes who've been trained by trainers who look exactly the same. I mean, maybe that's what you're going for.
Which is fine. I mean, if you just want to keep what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing.
I know. It breaks my heart though sometimes that people are just wasting their time. There was a kid who came. His name is Mike. Big kid, probably cresting 300 pounds. I'd seen him twice, and he's a powerful looking kid. I was looking at this kid. I was like, this kid could be powerful, like very strong. And I can see he's like walking around. He's like looking, not really know what he's doing a set of something, and then walking around a little more and grabbing a set on something else. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go help this kid real fast. So I walked over and I like gave him a couple tips on like the hammer strength rowing machine or some shit like that. And he's like I think he's doing 3x10s because for some reason 3x10s is the conventional.
It's just the norm.
Like, I just need to do 10 because 10 is not power, that's not body. I just want to lose weight because that's how you lose weight, right? By lifting weights. No, you don't lose weight in the fucking gym, idiot. But I walked over to him. I gave him a couple tips, and he's like doing it. I was like, okay, just fix that. And he fixed it a little bit. I was like, fix that again, fix that. And then I was like, all right, now add more reps. He's like, no, I'm only doing 10s. I was like, no, add more reps. He's like, but why? I was like, just add more reps. He's like, I got 3 sets though. I was like, what set is this? He goes, this is your 3rd set. I was like, he goes, yeah. I was like, okay, do more reps. I was like, just go till you're done. I was like, you're not doing this exercise when you're done, right? You're going to go do like legs or something. He's like, yeah. I was like, then just kill it. And so he goes through and he did 10, 10, 30. I was like, look at that. Look how much you had in the tank right there. I was like, you just left. You would have just left with 20 reps on the table. Oh man. And then I saw him like a couple days later. He's like, dude, that was amazing. Like that hurt so much. He goes, I've been working out for like 3 months and I'm blah, blah, blah. And he's going on. And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, you just got to push it. I was like, don't be afraid to push a little bit. Didn't see him for 6 months. He showed back up 6 months later. I saw him. I was like, yo, Mike, what's up? And he was like turned and walked away. No. I was like, oh, come on, man. Don't be like that. Because we all know I'm the idiot who calls at people from across the gym, Dustin. I do it to everybody.
Yes, you are.
It's funny. Like, it's an interesting dichotomy, though, because I get judged. I don't give a shit. It's a non-issue for me. But I put my money where my mouth is when I'm in the gym. It's like, because that's literally what I'm there for. I'm there to just do what I can do.
Yeah. I mean, no one's going to judge you anyway. You're bigger than 95% of the people in there. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're loud, you're obnoxious, but who cares?
Yeah, and I'm not there to like ego out on anybody else. I'm there to just do what I need to do and get better at what I'm doing, which is why I've been considering doing like a home gym or something like that. And just setting a program and having a couple guys and just being like, hey, if you want to come work out, man, you're more than welcome to. The home gym's in the back, because then you can leave that environment. Because that's probably one of the things that really bothers me is when I'm doing better and people give me like look at this fucking asshole. This guy's on steroids. Like, bitch, I ain't on shit. Fuck you. And then you look at the kids who are on the juice or on the performance-enhancing drugs, and you're like, you're doing a bunch of stuff wrong right now, kiddo, because you are not getting the gains you should be gaining. You're not getting the results you should be getting. You're getting some acne, and I'm happy for you because something's happening. But like,
something's growing.
It's growing under your skin. But it's just one of those, like, sometimes, like, on big days where I'm doing big shit, I don't need everybody in the gym to stop and stare at me. I don't need that. What I want is I want to get in my own head. I want to psych myself up. I want to do my set, and I want to be done and move on to the next set.
Right.
But when everybody fucking stops and all of a sudden your heart starts pumping, you're like, shit, there's a fucking audience. If I fail this, and now I'm just the asshole who tried to do this big lift and fucking failed, and everybody and their mother, their talent, like, I don't need that.
Everybody's telling me, oh, you should take some weight off. I'm just trying to ego lift.
Yeah. No, I'll show you a fucking ego lift. But that's not, but like, and then there's like a few guys, like, so like you, I'm gonna say there's maybe half a dozen to a dozen guys in that gym that when you do something impressive, they're there to support you. They're not there to watch or bring you down.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for it.
Yeah.
We're all there to get better, and we're all there to improve.
But there's so many guys there, and girls, that are not making the progress, and the first instinct it is to judge. And they judge you so fucking hard that you can feel it.
Yeah.
Like I know your lifts. I know roughly what you can do. So when you're getting up there, dude, I don't care. It's not my lift, it's your lift. And I'm there screaming, chanting, yelling, like, dude, let's do this. Like, come on, get into it. But you know that there's like 5 or 6 people who are looking around the gym like, oh, look at this guy. He must be on something. Why would he be doing that? He doesn't need that. That's not what's going to help him. That's not what's going to benefit him. Like, mind your own fucking business if you got nothing nice to say.
Yeah.
It's so bothersome. And I mean,
is.
you've got a nice little crew of you, your girl, and your buddy there who all work out together at a consistent basis. So you've got a nice little group of people who are pushing each other, which is nice because then what happens is you guys attract other people who are pushing each other. And you attract this sort of positive attention that as a unit, you are going to become better. And no matter what it is.
Right, because we're all there for each other.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the same thing like everyone else should be.
I love it. It's wonderful.
Sometimes it takes a little longer than I want it to, but...
I mean, are you progressing?
Yeah.
So did you set any goals for 2018?
Just to get better than I was 2017.
You should
get
set
stronger.
Set some numbers. Whether it be a weight single or a weight in reps or something like that, just set them firm.
Yeah.
I want confirmation right now to what you want.
You want them. What do we got?
So what's your? Oh, I'm gonna be a gym bro. What's your bench press, bro?
Right now?
Yeah.
Max?
Yeah, roughly.
270.
Okay. What's your rep max? Like, if you put 225 on, how many can you do 225?
I have no idea.
Okay. So I'm gonna tell you somebody, and I'm gonna spell their name off camera using my hands.
I am so bad at this. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he tried to tell me the other day that he can do 275 pounds for 3 to 4 reps. And he can do 225 for like 12.
That's it? If he can do...
Yeah. But I know how he trains, I know what he does, and I know who he is.
Yeah.
And I looked at him, I was like, just, you can do that right now? Like, just warm up and do it? He goes, yeah, any day. I was like, well, that's really good if you can do that. And he goes, no, I can do that. I was like, yeah, that's really good if you can do that. He didn't understand what I was saying. But it's like, I know who you are, I know how you train. You don't train for that kind of athleticism, so don't look me in the face and lie right to me, because I've seen you lift.
And I don't care. Like, if you can't do those, I don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't benefit me.
Why are you telling me this?
Once again, when I'm looking at someone who's got their lifts and I know what they are, I don't compare it to what I can do. I compare it to what you can do. So if it's you doing a lift and I know what you can do, bitch, if we're close, let's fucking do this. If we're warming up and we're going up above and beyond and shit, like, let's get into it right now. Because it's not me. It's you.
Right.
But everybody wants to be like, oh, man, I remember when I was like your age, man, I did this, X. Like,
oh, my God.
Fuck you.
And guys come in the store all the time, older guys. It's like, oh, yeah, I had a 500-pound squat when I was a kid, when I was your age. And, I could bench, 400 pounds when I was your age. I'm like, I don't care.
I would have been like, so what can you do now? Exactly. Well, age got to me, bro.
Where did it go? Oh, age kids,
Don't even say that, because we got cats in our gym that are over 50 who are crushing it. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at Tim. Tim is over 50. He's a master's powerlifter and bodybuilder. That dude smokes me in deadlifts. Smokes me. Not in weight, but in reps, because he does these 315 in under 30 minutes. He'll do like 15 sets of like 8. In under 30 minutes. The dude weighs like 170, 180 pounds soaking wet.
That's insane.
He just murders it. And I'm like, Jesus! Anthony, he used to work out with Elliot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anthony can do a standing reps overhead press with no braces or nothing, 225 pounds. He could squat 600 something. Dude's 55 years old. The guy benches 400s. The guy fucking... I don't watch him deadlift because he does a lot of like the clean and press and stuff like that, but... Like, there's no excuse. Like, I don't care what you did. I care what you do, because when you compare it to yourself, it should be based on who you are at the time.
Right.
I mean, there's videos of, like, 80-year-old guys doing 135-pound squats. I'm like, shit, yeah.
Yeah.
That's legit.
You're 80 years old.
That's just so impressive. Like, you're obviously proving that it doesn't matter. You're just going to keep killing it. because that's something you do. But everybody likes to compare themselves to you at that age and time. But it's like, we're not all the same. Because if you look at some of those guys, I guarantee you they're probably not built the same, height-wise, width-wise, whatever it is, right?
Right.
So why compare yourself to me?
That's why also I hate how people who are a different size or like different body type try to tell you how to, like, specifically how to lift.
Yeah.
Like, I understand tips here and there, but you're a completely different body type than I am, and or maybe you do low bar squat and I do high bar squat.
Well, look at Dan Lynch, the guy who I work out with. He actually just found out he's got some stress fractures in his spine, and he's got some bulging discs, so he can't deadlift anymore. But we probably spent 4 months figuring out what width his hands need to be, what width his legs need to be, how he needs to grab the bar, how far he needs to sit down before he grabs the bar, just for his body type. I could have walked up to him and been like, all right, man, I know the way to do it. You need to have your feet an inch inside of the knurlings. You need to barely cross over. You need to sit on your heels and stand up.
Right, it's not that simple.
No.
For everyone. Everyone is different.
Look at CJ. CJ, when he benches, his hands are so fucking wide. Like, if you look at the rings on the good bars, his index finger is barely on that ring. He's 3 inches shorter than I am. My hands are almost inside of the ring. Mm-hmm. It's just like, you're built different, man. It's not the same game. Larry Wheels is a genetic freak. Larry Wheeler?
Who's that?
Larry Wheeler is the... he holds the world record. I think it's the 220 or the 242 raw total. Dude's a genetic freak. He's like 22 years old. He's a kid. Fucking brilliant kid. Like, but you can't walk up to Larry and be like, dude, you're doing that squat wrong, man. Like,
right.
Tell me I'm doing it wrong, man. It's the worst part too is when people tell you you're doing shit wrong and they can't do what you can do.
Exactly.
I don't care what it is. If it's a sprint, if it's a pull up, if it's a squat, doesn't matter. If you can't do what I can do and show me with what I'm doing, because there's a lot of times form goes to shit.
Yeah.
So if you're doing a 500-pound back squat and somebody's walking up to you, he's like, hey, man, you got to fix that because it's wrong, blah, blah. I was like, here, why don't you show me with this weight? Because if you can show me with this weight, maybe I'll understand a little better. But if you're going to show me with 300 pounds less, I can do that with 300 pounds less all day. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect me, but it's a different build-up. Nobody seems to get that. They just seem like what they're secretly trying to do by being like, hey, man, fix this shit, blah, blah, blah. You're going to be like forever indebted to them. You're going to be like, oh, man, I can't believe I was doing it so wrong for so long. What kind of person? Could you help me, God?
They
Please.
just want that feeling of satisfaction that they think they helped somebody.
Yeah. But in reality, you're wrong because you need to learn what somebody else is designed for.
Right.
And it's silly to think otherwise. That's like Elliot does not have a big chest. But he's got a good bench for a guy who doesn't have a chest. He's got thick triceps. He's got wide back. He's got shit for chest. His dumbbell pressing is awful. But when it comes to his bench press, because the other two bits are kind of building it up, I was like, that's impressive. Because he, like, you would figure someone with a bigger chest is going to have a bigger bench.
Right.
Not for him. The way that his body works, his chest doesn't engage. Just fills out the rest of it. Did you steal my gym partner, by the way, you bitch?
No.
So why'd you reach out to him?
I'm still waiting for him.
Why'd you reach out to him? Why did you steal his number from me?
He wanted to join us.
Don't you fucking start with me.
He wanted to join
That's
us.
my gym partner, bitch.
You're out.
I worked really hard on him. I worked really hard on him.
You're out.
I'm not out for shit.
You're out.
I'm going to go squat this week. I'm going to deadlift this week. I'm going to do back this week. How about toe straps, bitch?
You're going to hurt yourself.
I'm not going to hurt myself.
You're going to hurt
I already
yourself.
deadlifted a couple weeks ago without this arm.
I saw that.
Yeah, with the toe straps. So I'm going to deadlift this week. I'm going to safety bar squat this week. I'm going to fucking do back. I bought ab straps so I can put my elbows into it and I can actually pull down. I'll do those on Thursday. So that way I don't engage the bicep.
Can you put that elbow into it?
Yeah, I have ab straps. As long as I'm not engaging the bicep, it's fine. This gets off on Wednesday. I get an apparatus that'll hold it at an angle. So I can
You're going to hurt yourself.
You're going to hurt yourself, Dustin.
Probably.
This is how we get our first injury. You and I quarreling in the gym like a bunch of lovers. No, man, please don't. No, don't go. Come back, man. That's what's going to happen. I can't believe you're going to steal my gym partner.
I'm just going to borrow him.
Just be ready for the biggest sandbagger in your entire life. There's a reason we call him Sandbagger.
Oh, yeah.
Because, so when him and I were just doing the program we were on, he's like, oh, I'm going to set up my deadlift like this, and my bench like this, and my squat like this. And he gave me his numbers, and I was like, those numbers seem fucking low. I was like, I know you're stronger than that. So your max should be a bit bigger than that. First week, second week, third week, fourth week, fifth week, he's like, dude, I'm crushing it. Case in point, that first week, it was a 10x3 pauses, and he did a 3x10. He's like, yeah, man. You're like, oh, you silly bitch. It's so funny because he's like, nah, man, I can't ever lift more than 400 pounds on his deadlift. And then all of a sudden, he's lifting 455, 460, and you're like, you can pick that up if you need to.
I have to, actually.
Yeah, pick it up.
My employee.
Yeah. Ooh, you have an employee. Ooh.
What's up?
Dustin's got an employee, guys.
Yeah. Is that all you're calling me about? I don't know. Probably not. What do you mean?
Jesus. I am so sorry because I need to remind my guests that they need to put their fucking phone on mute when they come in here. As well as I forgot to take my photo to show the show. Yeah, he's got to go. Hey, Dustin. Welcome to the picture. It's becoming a thing now. I just take these photos. I look like a Tarsh.
So why?
I look confused, just desperate.
I always look confused.
Is that part of the gimmick?
That's so people will leave me alone, but it didn't work with you.
Yo, you're so right. It didn't work with you. I'll be honest. So I have a friend whose name is also Dustin, who's very quiet like you are. And I'm super confused. Like, there's a lot of people that I chat with who usually I chat with them because I'll make like an offhand comment to them, like when I'm in really close proximity to them, and then they'll like laugh or something like that, and then we'll just like exchange a few lines back and forth, and then after that, it just the friendship normally builds, like where it's, you know, I see you, hey man, what's good, blah blah blah, and then you do the normal bullshitting, and then after a little bit, it's like, hey man, you come spot me, yeah man, blah blah blah, and then you start chatting about your problems and shit. With you, I don't remember how we met, so you might have a little more insight.
You don't remember?
Nope. Go
I
on.
do remember.
Tell me, sir. Did I
do
smack
remember.
your ass?
You were leg pressing, I was squatting, and you gave me a few tips. And then
Sounds like me.
out of nowhere, when are you gonna go play football? When are you gonna come play football?
Oh my god, I am
So
the
for
worst
weeks,
with that.
weeks. When are you gonna come play football? All across the gym.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie to you. So when I used to recruit for football, I used to always be like, yeah man, so I run a football league. Like that would be the setup and stuff like that. After that, I hit a point where I stopped doing that, and I would ask everybody as though I had asked you to before. That's why I phrase it like that.
Well, that's why I was like, what the hell is this guy talking about?
It confuses so many people. Because it just, like, if I say it with such confidence, you're like, has he asked me before? Am I being an asshole? Do I not remember him asking me? What kind of person am I, right?
I was just like, is he talking to me?
Yo,
He's just yelling loudly across the gym.
Probably not.
I'm like looking around for somebody else, and everybody else is...
Probably like 50 people. So when are you coming to play football? You've never asked me. I'm pretty sure I've asked you. I've asked everyone. The league apparently has fallen apart since I've left. There's cream here and sweetener here. I'm a black coffee guy. Yeah. If you say you're a black coffee guy, I'm going to smack you. Because that'll be the fourth person in a row who's been on the show who's been like, I drink black coffee because when I was in college, long story, but I can only drink black coffee now. No?
No.
I had a couple guys text me who were like, oh, so was it football this week? I'm like, bitch, I ain't playing football. Why would I set it up? I was like, you guys are grown-ass men. Because everybody's so used to me texting them on Monday, texting them on Wednesday, texting them on Friday, reminding them Saturday, and then a handful of guys getting a message Sunday around 10 o'clock being like, hey, man, I'm heading to the field now, just to let you know. Like, and it's to the point now where these grown-ass men cannot coordinate with themselves to set up football. I was like, I have no horse in this race right now. I was like, I am out for at least 6 months. I was like, I'm not going to be spending my time texting, messaging, holding hands, and making sure people are going to something that I'm not going to participate in. I was like, y'all are grown-ass men. Get a hold of each other. That's what the wall is there for. Post on the fucking wall, man. I shouldn't have to do that for you guys. Well, it just helps when you... No. It's you being lazy. And there was another gang of dudes that came and played the last week before I got hurt. I asked two of the guys already. I was like, hey, man, because I know you guys are going to play with them on Sunday. I was like, get their number for me. Get their leader's number for me, and I'll have him join the page, and I'll have him run the page in the meantime.
Take me to your leader.
No, they didn't do that.
Someone did post in the group like
That kid's a farce. He's like, oh yeah, man. Like he private messaged me like, hey man, we've been playing for like 8 years in Webster. I was like, yeah, good luck. He goes, what? I was like, the reason we play in Cops Hill is because apparently it's a central location and it makes everybody's life easier so they can get there. I go, we tried to play in Webster for a long time there and we got very little turnouts. I go, as soon as I moved to Cops Hill, I got a big turnout. I go, they're not going to see the benefit of going to Webster when they're being solicited by someone they've never met.
Yeah, especially the guys that show up to play with us.
Which guys? Oh, yeah, because they're lazy and they're late. I showed up at 10 o'clock the last game. I set up and everything like that. I was all warmed up. It was 11 o'clock. We didn't start playing until 11:45.
That's precisely why I don't go anymore.
And if I say 12 o'clock, no one's going to show up till almost 1 o'clock. If I say 10 o'clock, no one's coming.
No.
It sucks.
Yep, that's exactly why I don't go anymore.
It was fun while I had it working, and chances are I'll try to get it going back up when the weather turns and when I'm a little more athletic and stuff like that. But I'm going to try to convince them to switch to flag just because I can't deal with another injury like this. I mean, I've already missed a week plus of work. And I do want to play, but not at the risk of losing a job. And it's one of those, if you guys aren't willing to switch to flag, I can't play anymore. And that sucks because I really love playing football.
Yeah.
You know, and the same thing with you. After I got injured, I was like, Dustin was right. Fuck, I'll never tell you you're right.
I told you.
So it's sad, man, and it sucks because I'm the low contact guy, and I'm the one who gets hurt.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm the one who runs everything. So if anybody else had gone out, we still would have been playing. But it's just because these adults need their hands held because they don't make adult decisions like traditional millennial mindsets. It's so depressing. And I haven't heard from most of them in over 2 weeks because I'm not setting up games, so they don't care to talk to me anymore.
Of course.
It's like, oh, you needed something from me. I get it. Fuckers.
Yeah.
But I keep telling them, like, don't stop on my account, man. I spent 2+ years getting this shit going. I was like, this is not going to fall apart because I'm gone. I was like, get back in it. If you guys want to play, play. Oh, it's cool now. You weren't saying that 2 weeks ago. It was frigid as shit up, man. It's terrible.
Today wouldn't have been a bad day to play.
It's going to be in the 40s this week.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll find my wife's cell phone. She lost her cell phone in the backyard.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
How does that happen?
Yeah, she went a week without it. She had it in her hoodie, and she was chasing Annie around the backyard. And then she came in the house. She's like, "Where's my cell phone?" So thankful. It's convenient that I was at home the whole week because she could use my work phone or my phone or something like that. But yeah, she went out there. I went out there. She went out there. I went out with her. My dad went out there. She went out there. She went out there. She went out there. Absolutely nothing. And she didn't turn the GPS proxy on her phone so we could find it, like to find my iPhone. So we didn't even know where it was. And I probably called it like 30 times. Nothing. Couldn't find anything. It was terrible. So she had to buy another phone and stuff. Thailand's got her and she'll never give it back. What are your hobbies, Bubby? Like, what do you do? Like, what does your free time involve?
Going to work, going to the gym. I have been playing a lot of Call of Duty lately.
Which Call of Duty?
The new one.
Yeah.
I really like to play NHL. Not the new one though. I'm really bad at the new one. I used to be really freaking good.
Do you think it's because of like the mods they did to it or something?
It's a lot slower, and I don't like. I'm the guy. I hit people. I take the puck away. I go get a breakaway or 2-on-1 or 3-on-2. In this game, you just can't.
Yeah.
And I don't play where you get it in the zone and you pass it around and you get a good shot.
So you're just a really aggressive player.
Yeah.
So you're like, I'll pick one dude and I'm playing that guy pretty much the whole game. I mean, maybe it'll switch it intermittently, but you're pretty much playing one guy.
Pretty much.
Did you play NCAA football or Blitz?
Yes.
Or Madden?
Yes.
Okay. So is this to liken like the difference between those where NFL Blitz was the most remedial version of any sports game? You didn't even have to kick the extra point. You could just take the extra point. And then 99% of the time, the pass was always caught. Didn't matter where it was, didn't matter the coverage, the pass was always caught. Versus, and then you're saying what? It's more slow? So it's kind of
slowed the pace of the game down, I think.
So like the movement or just the
movement.
graphics? Okay. Huh. So it's like playing Forza versus playing Need for Speed Most Wanted or something like that. Where in Forza you look like you're going 2 miles an hour, but you're really going 80. And then in Most Wanted you're going 120, looking like you're going 400.
You could steer those cars a lot better too.
In Forza?
No, Need for Speed.
Yeah, I was going to say I can't do Forza.
No.
I have so many
it's like
friends who were
Gran
like,
Turismo too. I just could never... like you have to drive it like a real car.
Yeah.
And I'm not used to driving a real car at 160 miles an hour. Especially, or like they start you off with like a Mazda Miata.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not used to driving a Miata at like 75 around the corner, you know?
Did you ever play Midnight Club?
Yes.
How awesome
Yes.
was Midnight Club? It would just phase you out of the screen when you'd go off the screen. It would just tell you warning, and then you'd disappear and appear back on the road. The original Xbox had a lot of like interesting good games that to this day still hold up. Would you play it on PlayStation? Are you a PlayStation guy?
Yep.
Yeah. Easy splits. I don't have any new consoles. My newest console's a 360 Elite. That just puts it into perspective where I spend my money.
Yeah.
I wish I had more because I have a GameCube that I'm going to set up to that TV over there.
Ooh, GameCube was fun.
Yeah, I got Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Woo. My brother was actually ranked in the US, I want to say. Something like that.
I didn't know you had a brother.
Yeah, I got a brother and 2 sisters. I also have a mom and a dad. Just so we're aware. I just want to put all my cards on the table.
That's good.
But yeah, no, we played so much Smash Brothers as kids. We broke 4 discs and a GameCube.
My.
So I got lucky when I actually bought mine. I bought it probably about a year ago, right before my Florida family came down. I was like, yo, bitches, let's play some Smash Bros. They were coming up for my wedding 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago. Holy crap, it was 2 years ago. And I looked on Craigslist. I was like, maybe I'll get lucky. Because I was looking, I was like, how much is a GameCube going to run? It's like $150. I was like, what? And then Smash Brothers Melee is like $100. I was like, no.
What?
Yeah. Did you know that a sealed case of Double Dash goes for $250?
Oh, sealed, yeah.
Yeah. And if you want to buy it open, disc only, it's 100 bones.
That's absurd.
Because it's considered one of the best games that GameCube ever put out. Same thing with Smash Bros. Smash Bros. Is considered one of the best fighting games of all time. They still run tournaments for Smash Brothers Melee,
yeah.
which is crazy.
I believe that.
Because that game came out in 2001, so it's been 16 years, 17 years. So I ended up looking at Craigslist. I got lucky. I found somebody who had a GameCube. I was like, hey, in any case, I can always go to one of the game stores and pick up some cheap games and stuff like that when we play like Mario parties and stuff. And I ended up messaging this guy, hey, you got it? He's like, yeah, I got it. I was like, I'll be there in 30 minutes. He's like, I was like, you'll be there? He's like, yeah, sure. So I showed up at the house. Beautiful, beautiful house. Apparently what happened is his son went to college, left the GameCube, and then right from college moved, and he got a job somewhere else. And he was like, yeah, he just left stuff. He goes, and he said he doesn't want any of his stuff in the room. He goes, so I'm selling it. He's $50. I was like, all right. I was like, did you like plug it in to see if it turned on stuff? Because I don't know how to do that. So I real quickly just plugged it in, got the power light. I was like, okay, cool. And he goes, here's a stack of games, here's some controllers, here's the memory cards, whatever it is. Thank you. Here's $50, dude. Take your $50. I got home, 3 remotes, Smash Brothers Melee, 2 other games that I'll never play in my entire life, a bunch of memory cards that had no information on them, an adapter so you could plug in the Game Boy games. So you can play your Game Boy games on your GameCube, which that's like $100 in itself. And then a bunch of other bullshit. And I found the copy of Melee. I was like, because I didn't see any other games. I opened up the lid. Super Smash Bros. Melee sitting aside.
Nice.
I was like, yes, let's do this shit. So I ended up getting System in the game, the most important game, for $50. So she's sitting out there. I actually was going to hook her up to that. That TV out there was supposed to be designed for like guests. So when they came out here, they could sit in the basement. We could have like people in the basement, people upstairs. But everybody ends up just congregating upstairs. So it's like, I might as well just take that TV stand, move it in here, set up the double TV split, hook up my Xbox original to the one, and then hook up my GameCube to the other, because then you got people who can play Halo and people who can play Smash Bros.
There you go.
I was like, this is going to be a little bit of a nerd game room. I think I could bring up the presentation after I put the foam panels and stuff up, so it looks more like a studio, a little more appropriate. I'm trying to think about doing like a decal or something for the stage, for the show. Just kind of make it look a little more appropriate. But we're doing the working title. Our current working title is Life on Record, The Shit Show.
The shit show.
The Shit Show stands for Stories Here in Town Show.
Nice.
You know, acronyms. Acronyms make everything work right. If I tell you have AIDS, you're like, oh, it's just an acronym. So you play some games. Do anything else?
Not really. I mean, play with my cat.
Play with the
hang
kitty
out.
kitty.
Yeah.
What kind of kitty you got?
He's an orange, I don't know.
Little tiger stripey?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
little
I'm
cat.
not a cat person. She is.
So you have a cat and you're not a cat person.
No, it's her cat.
Oh, it's her
I
cat.
got it for her.
So you got her a cat.
I got her a cat for
And
Christmas.
that's not your cat.
It's her cat. I call it my cat, but she tells me otherwise.
You're like, I just paid for it.
Actually, I didn't even have to pay for it. I didn't even have to pay for it.
How'd that work?
So Sam, my buddy's my gym partner, yeah, his godfather had a couple stray litters.
Oh, no
or
way.
Semi-stray litters, I guess. And, his parents went out there for Christmas or whatever and brought it back for me.
Oh, that's super cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a bunch of kittens this year because of the wife's rescue. A bunch of little demons jumping on my wife, hurting her, and she's going, ow, ow, and I'm sitting downstairs, I'm like, I just want to help her, but they're kittens and they're scary. They're not scary, they're just little adorable kittens, but they got sharp claws. Yeah. Oh my God.
Ours uses his claws all the time.
He got front and back?
Yep.
Yeah, I bet he does. How old is he?
We think he's like 9 months.
Oh, so he's still a baby.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you guys got him pretty early. Did you guys have him when the eyes were still blue?
No.
Well, so you probably got him when he was about 2 months old. Something like that.
No, actually, we just got him like 2 months ago, so we think he's like, when he was like 7.
Holy crap.
7 months old.
He was living the hard life for a couple months there.
Yeah. I mean, they were feeding him. I think they were letting him in the house and stuff. But.
This isn't your home, but welcome. Just make sure you leave.
Yeah, he came in Gonzi, please.
That's so funny. So, and what do you do for a living?
I currently am a store manager at GNC.
Oh, I didn't know you were the manager. I thought you were just a stock boy.
No,
Stock boy.
I'm the manager.
Stock boy.
I don't want to be the manager.
Do you enjoy it?
No.
No?
No.
Why?
It's a pretty boring life. You know?
You get discounts on supplements.
I do get discounts on supplements.
That's why you're so big. All those secret supplements you guys keep in the back.
It's not the supplements.
Where they're like, please don't sell this to anyone. And it has like a nuclear symbol on
Actually,
it.
funny story. I don't know if I'm allowed to tell this, but I'm going to anyway.
So allegedly he can't tell it.
So there was a man at one of the other stores got a package delivered one day.
Allegedly.
And it just said GNC Pittsburgh Plaza on it. Guy opened it up. It was a bunch of vials of steroids.
Whoa.
Delivered to the store. And he was like, immediately called the police. Like,
holy shit.
He was like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, I got to get this out of here.
Yeah.
Called the police and they dealt with it. But, I mean, he's an older guy. He's more herbal. Yeah. Like, he's definitely not ordering steroids.
So you think maybe somebody in the store ordered them under the proxy and sent them to the store to buy?
Either someone, I don't think it was someone at the store because, I mean, there was a woman and I can't remember who else was there.
You don't got to give details like that. Be as vague as possible.
I think it was the old manager.
Oh, you think he was getting his goods there.
Yeah.
Huh. That's always interesting. Like, to use. So I had a friend who, he started taking performance-enhancing drugs, and my wife actually accused me of taking performance-enhancing drugs because I have a lot of working knowledge of them. Because one of the things that I do as an avid gym goer is I like to know everything about almost everything in a field. So with my board games, with football, with the gym, with supplements, whatever it is at that time that tickles my fancy, I like to know every single little in and out. And at one point, the performance-enhancing drugs thing came to surface, which I did not take. But I wanted to know everything about what they were, how they worked, how they were made, what was the origins of them, why were they made, was there purposes behind them. And you find out a lot of interesting things about certain drugs, and they actually had medical purposes originally.
Oh, yeah.
But a guy who I was friends with in Florida, he was going to start taking them. And I tried to talk him out of it. I tried to give him a couple of alternatives, stuff like that. Stuff to take that he could probably, try to get results. Because if you've never taken anything before, you don't know how your body reacts to stuff. So, like, if you're working out and you're like, I'm going to take steroids, it's like, have you ever taken a pre-workout? I've never taken a pre-workout before. Try a pre-workout. See how it happens. See if it affects you in a good way. Maybe it'll give you that little extra boost in the gym to kind of try and get through. Maybe you just need something to increase your appetite. Maybe you need some digestive enzymes. So, like, try stuff and see how it affects you, right? So I didn't even know he was doing it right away. He bought them and he's like, oh man, I shot up yesterday, dude. I was like, oh, where? He goes, my left cheek. I was like, I bet your ass hurts like a bitch, doesn't it? This was all through texting. And I said a couple of things back and forth. I was like, dude, just make sure you check the site, make sure you're cleaning stuff up, blah, 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 blah. Get rid of your needles, do whatever you have to do. I'm giving him like all these protocols and stuff like that. And I was like, what's your dose? What's this? What's that? Trying to get information on him. Even as someone who's never done it before, I still have a pretty significant working knowledge of it. And, they hit the point where my old phone was dying. It wouldn't charge anymore. So I had to go in, I had to buy a new phone, and I wanted to kill the phone. So I left it on, and I left it draining and stuff like that. And she ended up finding my phone. She went through it, and she accused me of taking steroids.
Oh, no.
And she goes, if you're taking steroids, we're done, blah, 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 blah. And we went on, and I was at work, and I ended up coming home, and I threw a list down on the table, and I was like, this is a list of all non-steroidal supplement alternatives that I am looking to take, because I do not want to take steroids. I want to take things that will help me in the gym, help me be a better me, but I do not want to cross that line. I was like, this right here should be proof enough that I never have, and I will not take them. And it blew over a little bit later, but I found out from this kid, because he just stopped talking to me one random day. The wife was mad at him at that point because he was taking it, he was confiding in me, and she's like, I don't want you involved in any of that. Okay, that's fine. Well, he got an order of needles to his grandparents' house where he was living at the time. And his grandmother took the package, she opened the package, and then she's like, oh my God, what's going on? Are you taking drugs? Blah, 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 going on. He told her that they were mine.
Of course.
He goes, no, it's a buddy of mine at the gym. He asked if he could send a package to the house. I didn't ask what it was. He sent it to the house and blah, blah. I was like, oh, I can't be friends with him anymore. And he hadn't talked to me in weeks at that point. I was like, yo, what's going on? What happened? He was like, oh, my grandmother found it, blah, blah. And he didn't tell me that he blamed me. He's just like, yeah, man, she got really mad. I can't really work out with you anymore. And I found out from a friend of mine who was friends with him later down the road that the reason he stopped hanging out with me is because he told his grandmother that it was me. And she's like, you can't see that boy anymore. I was like, you fucking cunt. I was like, I get in trouble with my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, because she thought I was taking it because I was trying to help you and be a good friend. And then you had the audacity to lie to your grandmother's face, which later down the road you were freely ordering shit coming to your house, and she didn't care after a while that you were ordering illegal shit to your house. But you fucking dick. He blocked me on Facebook. He removed me from all social media.
God.
He blocked my phone number. I was like, wow. Just to try and save your ass just a little bit. I thought we were friends, man. What kind of shit is that?
Back to talking about people that don't want any help.
Yeah, no, it's true.
I mean,
it's so depressing too, man, because it was all with good intentions too.
yeah.
And I mean, I have people who I know who've taken stuff, and it's always, there's some people who know a ton, and there's some people who know nothing. And it goes everything from PEDs to just general fitness to whatever the hell else it is. It's like the same thing with video games. Like, when I play video games, I'm generally pretty terrible at video games, excluding a handful of games. It's just because of how they function with me. But most of the time, people are just ready to shit on you. And you might get that occasional person who's like, hey, why don't you start doing this? Why don't you start doing that when you're playing? And you're like, oh my God, look, help! But everybody's in that whole fight for themselves, put yourself above everybody else. I get the whole solidarity sort of thing, I'm more important than everybody else because it's my life, yada, yada, yada. But, at what point are you going to break down and just be like, all right, at the end of the day, there are other people who have problems and other people who need help, and I need to stop being such a dick. It sucks, man. Did you deal with that shit growing up or at any point in your life where people were just kind of like pushing you around, being selfish and shit?
Not that I can remember.
No.
I mean, not really.
I mean,
I'm sure there was. I just don't.
You didn't care. It's like a gnat at a barbecue. Get the fuck out. So I have to ask, you're a very quiet, underspoken individual. Where did that come from? Don't give me a quiet, underspoken response, Dustin. I'm digging right now.
I don't know. I mean,
because you're very, very, very smart. You're very smart as a person, and it's just one of those
I'm not intelligent. I have common sense. I have a lot of common. I'm not unintelligent, but I recognize where my strengths and weaknesses are.
Okay.
I feel like.
So do you play into your strengths without letting people know the awareness of your weaknesses?
I try to.
So you're quiet a lot, which means you must be shitty at a lot of stuff.
No, that's not true. I don't like to be wrong either. So if I'm not sure, I keep my mouth shut. So,
do you work to strengthen what's weak, or do you just kind of acknowledge it and you're like, that's fine, I'll deal with it?
Some things. Some things I would like to work on more than others, but I have yet to do that.
So, question. There'll be a lot of moments in time where I'm fishing for an answer, or we'll have a hypothetical question where it's easy as shit. I can open up Google right now, I can ask Google the question, and Google's going to give me the answer. I purposely go out of my way to not seek the answer until I have formed my own response. And then Dan and I'll have our superhero conversations to see what's happened here or here, who's better, who's this or that. We'll have our philosophy conversations going back and forth, and The answers are usually probably somewhere in this little box.
Oh, yeah, of
right?
course.
We purposely try to express ourselves and work our own system to see if we can become better, see if we can strengthen ourselves, rather than just relying on this handicap. Do you notice you do the same thing, or if you don't know it, do you just ignore it, and that's fine? So, like, if we're going to have insight about the housing market, we're going to use this as an example.
Yeah.
Like, purchasing, income properties that you're going to eventually use as income properties. You're living in one. At what point do you move out? Why would you want to have an income property? Does it make sense? Do the balances outweigh, the income from the one side versus the maintenance you're spending on? And after a certain amount of years, does it make more sense to sell it, given that property growth is always consistent? It's like stuff like that. Like, obviously, you might have it. I don't. Like, but we can have a conversation. We can be like, well, I would say if I was going to do it, after I had half the mortgage paid off, I would be leaving that place and I'd be getting my own house and renting out the other half. So that way I can put half of that money into surplus for maintenance, the other half paying off the mortgage.
Right.
But that's me. And then you're having a different opinion. And then at some point we can literally look it up and it'll be like, so here's the best way to get income properties. And it lists everything and it tells you how to do it and when to do it. If this is the mortgage rate, how much to charge, so on and so forth. But we can have that conversation and see if we can put it together.
For sure.
Is that a thing? Do you notice that happens in everyday life, or is everything just, I'm just gonna fucking get the answer, shit?
No, I mean, I think I'd rather have the conversation than just rely on something.
Do you feel like the art of the conversation is kind of dwindling?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In what way?
I mean, 95%. Well, I wouldn't say that high
No.
percentage, but like a lot of our days are spent on that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even in my own home, I'm guilty of it. Like,
Yeah.
I pay less attention of what's going on in my house because I'm sitting on that thing, and like I hate it. I do, and I try to recognize it, but at the same time, like sometimes it doesn't always work out that way I want it to.
I keep saying it on the show that I'm just gonna switch to a flip phone, and then if I want to do something on the computer, I'll use my computer.
Yeah.
Just stop me from wasting so much. Before you came here, I spent 2 hours straight on this thing.
Like the minute I wake up, like I look at it, I'm playing something on it. Like right now, it's going off.
And just imagine if we had the glasses, like the non-prescription glasses that go over our face, and then you're just doing shit throughout the day, and you're like, okay, Google, and then it pops up a screen here, and you're doing your shit, and you're like, oh, cat video. I just feel like it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse.
I mean, now we have things in our home that we can say, hey, what is this?
You got any of that stuff?
I did just get an Alexa for
it
it was for Christmas. It was a Christmas gift.
Yo, do you talk dirty to Alexa?
Gift. No, I don't talk dirty to Alexa.
You should talk dirty to Alexa. She'll give you good responses.
Honestly, we use it for music, and we make it play cat noises for our cat.
When you walk in your house, you need to go, hey, Alexa, what are you wearing? Just say something sexy to her, man. Get her going. Because then you're going to circus going.
She's not very, inappropriate.
And but they learn, too, from what you say. They learn how to be more responsive to you as an individual. Okay. So she's going to be really quiet with you. You're going to be like, hey, Alexa, blah, blah, blah. And she's going to be like, okay. Like, that's it. That's going to be her repertoire. It's just okay.
That's pretty much what it goes.
You're not helping her her programming or anything like that.
I got to prod her a little more.
Yeah. Get the it's the Family Guy thing where he's branding the cow and the guy's like, hold on. He puts the gag in. Starts pounding the ground. So on Fridays, that's one of the things we do, and I always talk. I'm so sorry, I keep talking about it, but Fridays when we play board games or Magic, everybody knows your phone goes on silent unless you're dealing with some sort of emergency or something like that. Shut your fucking phone off.
That's how it should be.
Because we are. If you don't want to be here and play games, we could just go play something online, and you can stay home.
Yep.
This is another reason I'm so big into the board games. It forces a community. Because now you have to come together to do this stuff. Like my wife hates board games. She doesn't play board games. She doesn't like them. She hates Monopoly. She hates them. I don't like Monopoly. She hates Monopoly.
I love Monopoly.
It's because you're simple.
It's true.
Stockpile right there. I taught them how to play it in one round, maybe 10 minutes. And then after that, I lost. I was telling you that. I fucking lost. And I'm good at money games. I'm good at betting games. And I'm good at interest games. I'm good at prediction games. I fucking took last place. I had $101,000. The next closest person to me was 140. 40 grand up on me. Granted, I'm on medication, but that's no crutch. But I taught them all how to play. They all pretty much grasped it really fast, and she was like, "Oh, that's actually a really interesting game." Because everybody thinks gaming is like, "Oh, it's all D&D and stuff like that." And I love D&D, but there's so much more to the board game. Alhambra, right here. It's a game that takes place back in the 1400s, and you build a Spanish market. So you're adding things like arcades, you're adding like shops and stores and stuff like that. You're trying to build the most walls. You're trying to have the most of certain building types while competing against the other players to grab money of certain colors to pay for certain brackets, and then bonuses if you pay exact change and stuff like that, so you can keep buying stuff and build the biggest market. Okay? So it's semi-interactive and it's semi-non-interactive. Like the next game I'm buying is going to be called a worker placement game. So every round you all take place putting your workers where you want them so you can accrue resources and stuff like that. So you can try and further yourself. Now there's an extra strategy there. Do I want to block you off from getting something because I don't really need it and I really don't give a shit? Or do I want to go and push my own self to a different limit, different kind of game? Did you ever play Catan?
No.
Catan's probably... anybody you ask who plays board games, the first games they're going to mention are going to be like Risk, Monopoly. Yeah. If you're like, no, I mean real board games. They're like, oh, like Catan. Everybody else says Catan. Because Catan is a very well-known, very popular, and very strategic game. Super, super easy to learn. Maybe 10 minutes to learn, forever to master. But the board gaming, the card gaming, the tabletopping, it all like brings some sort of different like feel to social involvement, in my opinion. Like, if you brought Michaela over and we played a game, there would be a very different feel than, you jumping online and she's sitting next to you with a controller and you guys are playing a video game together.
Right.
There's a different feeling and involvement and seeing the reactions and being involved in the presence and this and that and everybody's witnessing shit versus the dissonance that occurs when you're looking into a screen and the next person's 20 miles away looking into a screen and the next person's 50 miles away looking into a screen, just like bringing some sort of community together. And then these games also help with some sort of like processing, connecting shit, putting it together, figuring out how to have foreshadowing and foresight and things like that into whatever's going on.
It's a big word.
It's all just beautiful. Like it puts stuff together. And it's
it does.
It's every time I go to anybody's house, you know what they play? Cards Against Humanity.
Yep.
You know why? Because they're simple.
Yep.
And
I
it
actually
bothers
just
me.
played that for the first time.
Did you play Apples to Apples?
I've never played Apples to Apples.
Apples to Apples is the more G version of Cards Against Humanity. It's the original one. But every time I go anywhere, everyone's like, oh my god, let's play a game. What do you want to play? Let's play Apples to Apples. And after you played Apple to Apples so many times, Big Black Dicks is no longer as funny as it was the first time somebody goes, Dick Cheney is, and it says Big Black Dick. Like, it's no longer the same humor. It's not as funny. And it's just such a simple relation game. Like, that meme game looks really fun.
Yeah, I've played that before.
Is that good? Did you play it?
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah? How fun? Compared to, like...
It's pretty fun. I'm not a meme guy.
No.
So, I mean, I knew what most of them were, but... At the same, it is fun because you have to, similar to Cards Against Humanity, like you have to know the other person, like who you're throwing the card to.
It's kind of like an insight game.
Yeah, and I mean, when I played, like I didn't understand that. That was like the first card game I've ever played like that. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm like, I should have won that one, but it's like, well, I guess that person isn't.
So would you say you're like a pretty quick learner?
Yeah, I pick up on things pretty quick.
Are you numbers, history, sciencey? Like, what's your forte?
I'm like a numbers guy.
You're a numbers guy?
Yeah, like sports statistics. Boom.
So that's really interesting because the sports statistics thing it's pretty tough.
It is tough.
Because not only are there like all those different games, but they're all relative in different ways. But like just the Bills, in order to get them into the playoffs this year, there was like 2 different outs, and you're like, what are the odds that they're actually going to get it? And then somebody did the stats, and you're like, 6%. That's nothing. Yep. And then you look at it from a different angle, you're like, well, if my sales tax went up 6%, that's huge. You're like, it's a relative thing. Right. And it's always interests me when you find people who are really good at numbers, because I didn't think I was good at numbers till I was an adult, because I failed all my numbers classes because they taught me they taught me wrong, and I'm going to blame them. I'm going to blame them. As an adult, I'm super good with numbers. Like, I'm savanty with numbers, which is one of the reasons I love these board games too, because I get to involve it all, get to grow it, change it, play with it. And so that was also another reason why I designed the board games, because one of the best parts, one of my favorite parts, is when you have to figure out the statistics for the game, so you can figure out if something's broken or not. Broken meaning, like, if you get something and it happens in such a way, no one's going to win ever. It's the term broken. So it's always fun for me trying to figure out the logistics and the statistics, trying to make sure everything is as balanced as possible, because I don't like those odds games. Which is why I don't like Risk. Because Risk...
I don't think I've ever played Risk.
Have you ever played Risk before?
I know the
what it is?
concept of Risk, but I've never actually played the game.
Well, the way that you determine who wins and who loses is with dice rolls. There's no skill. I might have more dudes on that platform, but you can outroll me every single time, and you're going to have a complete advantage, especially... Right. And it's one of those, like, where's the incentive to play better? Which is why I like the game Small World, because Small World is Risk with no chance. There's one instance of chance, and that's, like, your last part of the last part of your turn. But other than that, it's a whole bunch of strategy. Do I want to expend this many resources to take over this place that you control to get more resources? Is it worth it? And it brings in that type of dichotomy to the board.
Right.
Just because now you need to play the players, not the dice. Monopoly, in a very similar sense, it's a dice game.
Yeah.
There's almost no strategy. Yeah, I got to trade. That's there's your fucking strategy, your trades and your sales and stuff. And
the dice should be irrelevant.
Yeah, the dice should just be there to help you. But in most games, because it's simple to teach someone, is the dice becomes the crutch. This becomes the platform. This becomes the paradigm for that game. Is your dice are responsible for your fate. So if you roll like shit, you play like shit.
Yeah,
it's silly. You can tell it's kind of like a cop out. I hate to say it. It breaks my heart, man. Do you have a pretty active life other than, work and stuff like that? Like, do you go out? Do you, see your family a lot? Are they still over in Black River?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't really go up there that much.
No. Do they come out here?
Not really. My dad will drive down once in a while. I'll go up for holidays, but I mean, I don't do anything up there.
Well, I was gonna say, what kept you in Rochester after St. John Fisher?
I mean, I had an apartment to pay for because I graduated in December, so I was like mid-semester. Apartment was still June, so I was like, well, I gotta find a job. Let me just find a job to pay for the apartment, and then I'll figure something else out.
Yeah.
Well, 5 years later, here I am.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah, it's been a minute, right?
Yeah, 4. No, 4? What? I don't know.
Either way, it doesn't matter.
Too many.
So, that's interesting. I feel like that's like, because I have a buddy who stayed out in Niagara Falls after we graduated, and I asked him why he stayed, and he's like, I got a job. And he's like, it's not a good job, but I got a job. He goes, until something else comes up, he goes, I have no incentive to move back home. He's an adult.
I mean, I'm not going to move back home, so I don't really have anywhere else to go. I mean, I could just...
I got no place else to go.
I could up and go somewhere, just out of nowhere. But like, I'm not going to move back home. There's nothing there for me besides, my family. But I can go visit.
Well, how long have you and Michaela been together?
3 years.
3 years. It's a long time, dude. It's pretty cool. Have you guys talked about like trying somewhere else or anything like that, or no?
She's thinking about Charlotte.
North Carolina.
Charlotte.
Charlotte's nice. A little bit humid sometimes, but still a nice place.
We just went down there for her cousin's wedding. Her cousins live down there. So
very cool. Would you guys go together, or would she just go and you'd be like, bah?
No, I mean, I'd probably go.
I
don't really have like a reason to stay here either,
You don't have any love up here. It's going there. You're going to follow it, right?
I'm always open to something new.
I have a buddy who's talking about leaving and going somewhere else to get a change of scenery, and he's looking to go for the wrong reasons, because he wants to go to like get out of the job situation he's in. And I was like, look, take it from a guy who left for a big reason being jobs, to get down there and then work shit jobs for 2 years.
Right.
I worked as a part-time personal trainer. I worked part-time at Lowe's. I had a 3-month office job gig. Like, I worked a couple days as a fucking construction worker and stuff like that. Like, I did not have good luck down there finding jobs, and I was trying hard. And it's like, I went to Florida. Florida is laden with jobs, and I could not find a damn thing. I moved back home, job right away. I didn't like it, but I had a job right away.
Right.
Went to another job right away. Just got this job right away. And it's one of those like, holy shit, which is why, like, with the market, the way that things go, when somebody offers you something, you take it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like the big situation with like you using, often like trying to get you in, same thing. It's like, I see how hard you are as a worker. I see what kind of person you are. You're not a shitty human being. You try. You're willing to do anything to make sure you have a better future. And it's like, all right, I'll put my neck out for this guy, see what's going on. Like, you're one of 2 people I'm recommending for this job. I have other people who I would, but they don't really. They're happy where they are right now. They're complacent.
Yeah.
And then I have dozens of friends who I wouldn't even dream about recommending them for this job.
Yeah.
Just because I know it's going to be excuse after excuse after excuse, and I don't want to deal with that. And yeah, and that's me saying that about some of my very close friends. It's super depressing.
Which is fine. I mean, you don't have to like dislike them as a person to.
No.
Or, I mean, they can be your friend, but not like you know their strengths and weaknesses, and you know who they are.
Yeah.
They can still be your friend.
Just don't want to put your neck out there for them like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. There's people who I'll help move, but I won't go to your house.
Exactly.
It's super silly. So I mean, would you say like you have like any direction for your future right now, or are you just kind of playing it by the seat of your pants?
Right now, I'm just playing it by the seat of my pants. I need to find some direction in the future. Is what I need to do. But
do you have any like things that keep you sane?
the gym. That's pretty much why I go.
Yeah, that's kind of like your cornerstone of life, right there.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like your big paramount, shifting sort of thing. Like, how did you get into the gym from fitness then? From like lacrosse and stuff like that? Because you obviously said when you were in college you played a little bit of lacrosse. So what ended up keeping you in the gym as opposed to picking up like an adult league for some like soccer or lacrosse league?
I mean, I just wanted to learn like how to get better. Like I would lift with no direction. I just go in there like you said, 3x10 or whatever, 3x12.
Yeah.
Every day, all the time. Or they're telling us we have to do these lifts. Like, I mean, we've got to do cleans twice a week. Like, why are we doing cleans? Like, what makes clean? Like, I want to know.
Did someone show you how to do them?
A little bit. I mean,
They had a little bit of a proxy come in.
so, I mean, I just wanted to learn. Like, why are we doing these? Like, what can I do to get better? And then after I graduated, I was just like, well, I mean, I want to help people, and I want to learn more about what makes, like, I'm not, like, big on science-y.
Yeah.
So that's where, like, the supplemental thing, like, I don't go into the whole science aspect of it. I try to keep it pretty basic.
So you're like an application guy versus a theory guy?
Yeah.
So in the lifting process for you, what was like your big turning point where you started to kind of get a hold of the reins and then continue your development and then make more shifts down the road? Like, was there a program you did? Did you have a coach? Did you have someone who was like, hey, here's one tip? Like,
I've just done different programs to find out what works best for me.
Were you a bodybuilding.com guy or a Flex Magazine guy?
Bodybuilding.com.
So what kind of programs you done?
Like, I've done the Gethin programs. I've done, like, and that's way different than anything I've ever done because it's high reps. I mean, you're doing 50 reps of something.
Oh, yeah.
You're doing, so just trying to figure out what works best compared to, something with 10 reps, 8 reps, 3 reps, and I liked it at the time. Now I like more of the low powerlifting reps, It's just...
Here's something I'd like to point out. So a lot of these programs that, in my experience when I was younger and stuff like that I would read and look up, looking back on, they were written by people who weren't PEDs. And that's not to say that they don't know anything, but that's to say that your body does function significantly different on PEDs than it would on chicken and beef and oil and rice. What would you say to like looking at routines that were designed by people who are natural, people who are not on performance enhancing drugs? Do you think that they would like look different? Do you think they would result differently?
Well, they're going to result differently on however you put into it. I mean, if you don't... That's the thing, is like a lot of the bodybuilding programs, they're, nutrition, eat this, this, and this. And it's like, I mean, not everyone needs to eat that way or eat those foods. Like, not everybody can.
Yeah.
So you're going to get into it what you put out of it.
So they kind of hand you like a cookie cutter routine.
Yeah.
And you might be an endomorph and that's designed for a mesomorph or some shit like that.
Right. And I don't know who writes those programs. I stayed away from Jay Cutler's like big 8-week program to gain mass because I mean Jay Cutler didn't do that program. I know he didn't from looking at the program. So it's like I'm not gonna get Jay Cutler big from that. Like I need to figure out what's gonna work for me. And that's why like half the time I quit halfway through and switch to something else because it's like, oh, it's not working. I'm not getting any better.
Which, honestly, another reason why the AMRAP is so cool is because you do get to see some sort of max out every so often.
Right.
It's not a weight max out, but it's an intensity max out. And that's really fun. So, like, when I was originally following all these, dude, I did all those programs. I did the every body part every day, 3 days a week, every body part every day, 5 days a week. I did the P90X. I did the P90X Extreme.
Shanti.
What else did I do? Come on. That wasn't Shanti. That was the white guy. Shanti was Beachbody.
Oh, right.
I did military style CrossFit. So it was like you pick up a heavy bag, you run with it for 100 meters, you drop it, you do your burpees, you hit your battle ropes, you do some kettlebell swings, you run back, you do some deadlifts. That's a set. And you do the next set. Like, I did some of that shit. I did fucking the traditional bodybuilding split, everything 1 day a week. I did the upper body one, lower body one. Like, I put probably 40 or 50 different routines and splits and shit like that. And one of the things that really sang to me was, do you know who Brandon Curry is?
Mm-mm.
I believe he's a BSN sponsored athlete or something like that. And I'm going to ask you a question in a second. I just want to see the answer. But I read his routine, and he essentially said that he followed a basic split where Monday was always this body part, Tuesday was always this, so on and so forth. And he goes, one thing, and he didn't tell you the exercises either. He didn't tell you what he was doing. He said one thing would be for this rep range, one thing would be for this, one thing would be for this, and then one thing would be for this. So it essentially was like low reps, medium reps, high reps, medium reps. 4 exercises done. And he goes, and some days it might be 3 sets, 4 sets, or 5 sets. So you're like, so what you're telling me is Monday through Friday, you do these body parts. You might do 3 sets of everything, 4 sets of everything, 5 sets of everything. And then you have a range here, range here, range here, range here. But you're not telling me what you do. All you did was just give me a blanket formula. And he goes, I like to go in and play it by ear. He goes, I know roughly what I'm going to do, body part wise. Like, there's always one thing I'm going to do for that body part. He goes, and everything else is up in the air. He goes, because the gym is full. He goes, if I'm tired. He goes, if I didn't eat enough. If, I'm still recovering from a last workout or something like that. He goes, I like to be able to go in and play, change it per that day. Maybe there's a day where I'll bench and then I'll just do 3 fly motions and I'm gone. And I was like, that's a really interesting way to think about it, because up until that point, I had been taught that the only way to do it is with structure, with diligence, with determination, with you need to do this so every single week you see some sort of gain. So for weeks and months and shit like that, when I'd go to the gym, every single time I went in, either I did 1 more rep or I did a tiny bit more weight. I did that for months. And it either showed me that I wasn't going hard enough or I was doing it wrong. But this guy's like, yeah, he's on PEDs, but it's one of those, like, the guy just showed you, and it's like, your body will respond differently to everything. Your body will respond to a stimulus. Provide a stimulus. And he said it, he goes, have fun in the gym. He goes, because that's the best part about the diet or the bulk. He goes, is the workout. He goes, the hard part's the food. And I was like, holy shit. I still thought he was fucking blowing smoke up my ass. I was like, what do you know? Get out from behind the glass, Mr. Wizard, and shit like that. But it's like, and it stuck with me for so long, and it took so long before I was like, maybe there's some merit to this whole playing it by the seat of your pants thing. And even now with my routines, I do that. I go in on chest day for a couple weeks at a time, and I'm like, 3 weeks, I'm going to do decline bench. And the goal every single week I do it is to go 1 rep heavier, a little weight heavier. And then I'll switch the big lift. I might go to flat for 3 weeks. But everything else after that is all changed. I might go in and do fucking sets of 30, sets of 10, sets of 5. Maybe I'll do 1 set of 100. Just play it by my own ear. Yeah. And it's interesting, like, it shifts so much, so my body I never really get to see, like, results from that stuff. But for me, it's fun. It's like it's a game. Yeah. Like, I've done a leg press, 600 pounds for 100 reps. Straight. No locking, no nothing, no. And I was like, God damn, that's so much. And you think about it, you're like, did I really just do 100 reps at 600 pounds on a leg press without stopping, without locking, without resting? Like, that's crazy shit.
Because you didn't think about it beforehand. You just were like, fuck it, I'm going to do it.
Which is why I always tell people, I'm like, have fun, man. Have fun. Do something silly. Do something stupid. Let's pick up a squat bar with some weight on it. Let's squat for 5 straight minutes and see what number we hit, Dustin. Are you ever going to do that for me?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah,
I love stuff like that.
That's my favorite thing. 5 minutes of hell. For anybody who doesn't know what 5 minutes of hell is, I think we talked about this before. Based on your body weight and your strength, you put a small amount of weight on the bar. So I think it's either bar with a 10, bar with a 25, or bar with a plate. And you unrack it, you walk it out, and you squat for 5 straight minutes. You can stand there with the weight all you want. You're not allowed to rack it for 5 minutes. So literally, if you bang out 50 reps in the first couple minutes, and you're like, I can't do it anymore, you gotta stand there for the rest of that time and run the clock up before you can rack it up. If you hit 100 reps, you add weight to the next time you do it. I've only done this 3 times, and I have yet to fucking pass. I think I've done like 90, I think it's 93 or 94 reps. I've done 87 or 89 reps, and I've done like 84 reps. All with the same. And it keeps going down every time I do it. I'm like, come on, it's been like 3 months. It's so hard. I'm to the point where I'm so good at it. Like, I'll do the first 2 minutes, I'll crank out like 50 reps. I'm like, oh, no, it's so hard. Yeah. And then you're like, I'm way ahead of the curve. And then nothing. It's like single, double, single. You're just like, Jesus Christ. This is the fun shit, man. That's what that is. It's so fun. Do you ever do crazy shit like that?
I love throwing drop sets and triple drop sets. I love it.
We do the burnout set on bench press some days, where obviously based on your max the number changes, but you unrack the weight and you don't rack it until the number is done. And it's so we did this one, and when I was in Florida, I asked my buddy, I was like, hey man, how much do you weigh? And he told me his weight number. I was like, okay man, we're gonna do that many reps. He's like, no, why don't we do it based on your weight? So I think we did 135 pounds, and we had to do 275 reps, and you're only allowed 10-second rest between sets. So you literally rack and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on. Hit your time, unrack it, do more reps, rack it back. That's it. Fucking long. Oh, yeah. So long. Oh, yeah. Brutal too. You leave and you're like, God, my shirt, I can't get it off. My tits are popping through right now. It's insane, just the crazy pump you get off that stuff. Oh yeah. But I wanted to do you feel like that's like a fun thing for you to do? Like, would you be interested in doing crazy shit like that with me?
That's the best way to train.
Just doing crazy shit. Just doing crazy shit.
Do crazy shit.
Come on, that's the best part. I notice all the cookie cutter routines and shit like that flowing around the gym when you see everybody going and do the same stuff, and you're like, bitch, you look the same. Yeah. Do something different.
That's the problem, is like, a lot of those people go in and they'll do the same thing week after week after week, and it's like, change it up.
So what's more annoying to you? The barking spider who slams the weight and it's not heavy, or they're really loud and it's not heavy, or the guys who do the same stuff all the time and think that they're the tough shit?
Probably the guys who are slamming the weight when it's like, those people just piss me off.
They bother me.
Like, if it's heavy, it's heavy. But like, or I mean, if you can't do it correctly, yeah, and it's heavy, like, don't do it. Take some weight off.
Because I always say there's like perceptively heavy and stuff like that. And there's a certain point with all these weights where, like, I don't care how big, like, if your max is 800 pounds and you're doing a 500 pound deadlift, put that bitch down quietly at the end. Right. If your max is like 600, you do 500s, I get it. Like, you're allowed to, if your max is actually 500, whatever it is. But most of these guys will pick up like half or 30% of their weight. And when they're done with it, I love this. My favorite move on like a deadlift or something. They'll lift the weight up.
And then just drop it.
Not even just drop it. They literally force it through the ground. They literally push it as hard as they can. You're like, dude, you are not going to dig to China that way. It's terrible. There's a guy at the gym we call Brah, because every time he does a rep, he goes, Brah, Brah, Brah.
I think I know.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. The dude does like 195-pound squats maybe 3 or 4 inches. And I hate right now because I'm judging so hard. I'm so sorry, world. But it bothers me because this dude thinks he's tough shit, and he'll always get up and he looks around and he's like, just fucking staring at me.
And he never gets any bigger.
Never. Always stays the exact same. And maybe that's what he's going for. But he's also going for peacocking. And I can't stand for that shit. No. Put the fucking weight down quietly, bitch. Don't scream and then look around the gym. That's the best, when they scream and then stare. Oh, yeah. They're like, who's looking at me? I got your attention, right? That's what I wanted. You're like, fuck you. At what point in the industry did you realize that like most of the industry was skewed, and the people you see in magazines or online or anything like that, like a lot of them are on some sort of enhancement?
Probably when I first started. I mean, you could tell. I mean, looking around.
I was convinced until the end of college that I could look like that without PEDs.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I was like, man, I'll get in there and I'll grind and I'll do so hard. I'll do so much work.
I mean, that thing, Instagram, stuff like that, I mean, you can see the difference with guys that train like and are not compared to guys that train and are on them.
I mean, granted, there are those rare, I say it loosely, rare specimens that are just genetically more receptive to adaptability behind weights. And that's, but when you have every single person claiming they're like, no, man, I'm just gifted athletics, gifted shit, blah, blah. You're like, fuck, you're gifted. I was like, did Santa Claus bring you that shit in the USPS today? Because that's still technically a gift. I did air quotes for those who didn't see it. But it's like, do people lie to you often? Like if they're on shit, like do you ask people like, hey man, what are you doing different? What's your diet? What's your supplement stack and shit like that? And you just see them and all you hear is, "Mah, mah, mah, I'm lying."
Yeah.
Mah, mah, mah,
Yeah. All the time.
Does it happen a lot in the store?
All the time.
All the time. Does anybody ever ask you if you guys have like, the good stuff?
Yeah.
So there was a list that came out last year from USADA that showed everything in GNC that had a degree of I'm going to use the word illegal, but that's the wrong word. Illegal.
Illegal by their standards.
No. Shit in there like androgenics and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So like stuff you could literally buy at GNC. Because back in the 90s, you could buy... There was essentially steroids listed as non-steroids.
Yeah.
You could fucking buy it.
Pro hormones and stuff.
Stuff like just on, not even pro hormones before then. Like before that. Like you could go in, you could buy, I think it's called like Roxy Hard or Rock Hard or something like that. And it was literally just one androsterone. You're like, oh, this is oral steroids sitting on the shelf. You're like, but there's stuff nowadays that the way that they list it that it doesn't pop up like it's something like that. But there's literally stuff on the shelves in GNC, vitamin shops, stuff like that are literally PEDs. But you just got to know what you're looking for. Yeah. So they had a list that came out last year of all the things, and then as soon as that list came out, the FDA banned all the shit.
Oh yeah.
They like went through and they're like, you got to pull this shit off a shelf, all shit off a shelf. But it's just interesting to me. It's like these USADA guys, they go around. It takes a year for them to process through and just be like, remember the original assault? People were popping drug tests for that shit.
Yep.
Because it was laden with one androsterone or one test, I think it was. I don't remember. And it's like, that's how you're getting your people to come back. You're lacing it with something that in 30 days will show results. They're convinced that they're going to get more results from it, so they buy more shit. They're not taking protocols. They're not taking care of themselves. And then you're going to have issues down the road, or you're going to pop a test, or they're like, oh, we got to reformat. We got our 2.0.
Yep.
And all they do is they pull out the steroids. And they're like, man, the original formulas. What was that one? Jacked.
Oxy Elite Pro was the big weight loss formula.
Because Oxy Elite was, what was an Oxy? Ephedrine?
Ephedrine,
Yeah, you're just like, so you're taking over-the-counter meth, and you can stack it with androsterone and, arginine. Like, that's crazy that was a thing at a time,
yeah.
and that was back in the early 2000s. That was serious. Because one of the things that somebody was telling me, they're like, if you ever want to buy stuff that has steroids in it, buy shit from a startup company. Because they're going to do whatever they can to get traction. And a lot of times they're going to lace it. And if the FDA comes through and they're like, hey, bitch, we know you got stuff in there. Like, oh, man, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. And then you quickly ship out the next set of stuff, and it's got the non-steroidal stuff. Yep. And then those the supplement companies are the people who are doing retail. They're supposed to send it back legally. Yeah. So if you get, let's say there's a protein powder that comes out, you guys are selling it, and it's got the shit in it. It's like, hey, we need it all back because they have to destroy it. Yeah. But what they're probably doing is sending it to Canada.
Probably. I mean, they got to make the money somehow.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think they're illegal to. Oh, I can't remember the loophole in Canada, but the Canada's really laden with
they are lenient.
Yeah.
I know.
It's like them with marijuana, same thing. They're very lenient with it too.
I've got one lady who comes in all the time, and she buys one fat burner, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I go over to Canada and get ephedra, and I just take this with it."
Yeah. Well, you can buy ephedra online.
Yeah.
And it's illegal to buy online because of where you get it from. It's like, so you ban it from being sold in stores, but you can still buy it online because they label it as something. That's another way they get around it too. Not for human consumption. That's my favorite one. Did you just try to tell me this is not for human consumption, bitch? Amoxicillin. So amoxicillin is there's a large supplement company. I think it's called St. John's or something like that. They do most of like the vitamins and minerals and stuff like that in the country, and they're responsible for some big number. I'm probably gonna pull it out of my ass and say 90+%. And what they produce there is supplements, vitamins, and medicine for humans, but they also do it for animals. So they're made in the same place, and they're the same shit. So like, when I had no insurance, instead of going to the doctor to get like amoxicillin and stuff like that for like ear infections, I would go online and I would buy fish mox. It was amoxicillin for fish. I looked up the dosage for humans, and I would take the dosage for humans.
There you go.
And it would go away. And I was like, this is a really broken
It was a
system.
hell of a lot cheaper.
Oh, significantly. Because just to go to the doctor when you don't have insurance, it's a pain in the ass. And then to get the prescription is a pain in the ass. And then your fucking insurance company's like, oh, you get sick too often. We got to do this. And you're like, I know I get sick too often. I'm me. Don't punish me for that. I can't help it. I'm not getting sick on purpose. I'm not going around making out with everybody and be like, give me your germs. That would probably help you with your immune system, too.
Probably.
Just being a filthy person. What was college like for you? I was interested to find this out. Like, were you a crazy human? Did you go out a lot? Were you a bookworm? Did you have some crazy stories you want to tell that allegedly happened?
Allegedly.
Yeah, everything allegedly
no,
happens
I mean,
on the show.
I pretty much played Call of Duty, and my pregame before the bar was playing Call of Duty and drinking every time you die.
Oh.
So either you got really good or really drunk or really good and really drunk. And then we'd go to the bar, and that was pretty much my Friday.
Which COD was this? Was this Black Ops or was this World at War? Or
It's probably Black Ops.
What year did you graduate?
2013.
Okay, so yeah, Black Ops would have just come out.
Somewhere
Yeah,
in there.
Black Ops was the shit, dude.
The original one.
Black Ops and Black Ops 2. I put too many hours into Black Ops and Black Ops 2. Way too many hours. That was like on Xbox original. It was all Halo 2 for me. Halo and Halo 2. Too many
I
hours.
was never a Halo guy.
No? That sucks. I didn't like what they did with the story. After a while, they were just like, hey, here's a dead horse. Why don't you go beat it with a stick? You're like, fuck you. Give me something new. So you would play deathmatch Call of Duty and just get shitty. Were you a beer guy or liquor guy?
Beer guy.
Beer guy. What kind of beer?
Whatever I could afford. I'm not picky.
There was a kid, allegedly, when I was in college, who would buy Keystone, allegedly. Underage, allegedly. And he had a backpack, and he would put all the Keystones in it. And he had it lined on the inside, so it acted like a little cooler. And he'd walk around campus with this, and he'd just be talking to you and shit like that. He'd be outside, and the way he'd have his hand, you couldn't see the beer in his hand or anything like that at any given time. Even during the summertime, big hands. And he'd just be talking to you, blah, blah, blah. He'd be like, hey, man, you want a beer? You'd be like, yeah, sure. And he'd hand you a beer. He'd be like, just get that, just hold that under wraps. Every single Friday. Every single Saturday and almost every single Thursday. This dude and I allegedly drank on St. Patty's Day. And I had never drank and then worked out. And I had a bottle.
Terrible idea.
I allegedly had a bottle of Mr. Boston, the chocolate something, like the $5 chocolate bottle. And then I had allegedly a bottle of butterscotch schnapps. And we were mixing that with chocolate milk that we allegedly got from the cafeteria. Because I knew one or two of the staff members down there. So there would be days where I'd be like, hey man, I need some chocolate milk or something. And they would give me one of the sacks with the tube on it. And I would stuff it in my fridge with the tube, lock it through a holster. So when I wanted chocolate milk, I would just knock it down and I'd pour it in. Because I knew all these guys. So like they'd have events and shit there. And I'd be like talking to them. And I'd be like, hey man, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. What's going on? I'd be like, hey, there's a tray of sandwiches back there if you want it. Because there was an exit that you weren't supposed to take as a student. You're only allowed to take as staff. So a lot of times the staff members would just go by and they get free food and stuff like that. I had access to get out there because I knew all the guys. So I would go out there and, hey man, yeah, there was a meeting here earlier today, blah, blah, blah. There's a giant sandwich tray out there. I was like, no shit. He's like, yeah, sandwiches on us. Pick up a giant sandwich tray with like 30 goddamn sandwiches on it. I only had 10 meals a week, so I had to figure out how to eat. And I didn't have a job, so I would have very little food. So I lived on ramen, and then thankfully I made friends with all the cafeteria people. And most of the time, I was smart enough on Saturdays and Sundays, I would go in for breakfast, and I would hang out, and I would talk with people till lunch came around, and I would eat lunch, and I would leave just before the dinner rush came in, because that's when they would notice that I was still there. But I did it every weekend. So I would get two meals for one every weekend. But the sandwich thing, that's where it's at. I used to store sandwiches in like everybody's fridge. I'd have like the, what's the sack called with the nipple? Damn it. Whatever it was, but I had chocolate milk in my fridge all the time. I always had whole milk or whatever it was. These guys were so cool. They just stacked me up all the time. And I don't remember where I was going with that story, but I ate a lot of free food.
Nothing wrong with free food.
No, there was a woman who worked at the campus store who used to give me buy one, get ones on ice cream. So twice a week I'd go and get a buy one, get one on Ben & Jerry's.
Nice.
You know, because so the way the campus worked is you get, like, I did the least amount of meals with the most amount of campus money. So I think it was like $10 10 meals per week, and then for the quarter I was given like $350 to spend at the stores for snacks and food and stuff like that. Buy one get one Ben and Jerry's. You go 8 o'clock at night when they're about to close up. You go on Wednesday night because Thursday they get the order in, so she can put the order in so it comes in. You buy one get one at some Ben and Jerry's, bitch. You gotta befriend the right people when you're a hungry man.
That's right.
There was a point where one of the ladies too, she wouldn't even check me in, allegedly. She would just be like, "Okay, sweetie, go." And just walk in. Who cares? It was
Went
awesome.
to the wrong school.
I did go to the wrong school. But I went to that college, and I was like, I'm going to go to this college. It's a nice, wholesome place, because I was an innocent little bitch, dude. I didn't do anything till I got to school. I did not want to get in trouble for a damn thing.
Same.
I was like, okay, so I'm going to go to you're so cute. Look at that, we're bonding. So I went to a private school, and a religious private school when I thought that I was religious, and I was like, oh, this will be nice. Everybody will kind of be more camped up, a little more well-respected. I'll be able to get my work done, won't be distracted. I can kind of be more responsible one way from home, blah, blah, blah. Nah, first fucking week, the house gets brought down. Everybody's drinking, everybody's shit-faced.
Those
I was like, what is this? What's going on here? Bitches are everywhere. I was like, yo, what kind of people are here? One of the guys who I got really close with the first year was a diehard atheist, and he was known on campus as being a hardcore atheist. He was telling me a story about he was fornicating with a girl, and she stopped mid-quote. She goes, "Do you really not believe in God?" And he stops and he goes, "Yeah, I don't." And she was like, "Okay." And they just kept going. I was like, Jameson, that is allegedly. I was like, that is an epic story, man. Like, that is so funny. But yeah, like, I was so struck to college life when I first got there. Like, did you have the same experience?
I didn't really do much my first semester. Like,
I didn't either.
I stayed in my room. Like, I was scared. I was like, my parents left me in this place. I gotta go to class every day. Like, that's about all I'm gonna do.
I didn't do anything crazy, but I almost failed out my first year. I had like a 118 and a 167.
I had like a 1.6 my first semester, I think.
What is that? What is that? Because
there was no direction.
No.
Like, I ended up taking some like literature course. I didn't read books.
Yeah.
Like, and the whole course was based on books.
Ooh.
And I was the only freshman in the class. Like, I thought I was in the wrong class for the first like couple weeks. I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to be signed up for this class, but I took it anyway. Luckily, the guy was cool. I think I ended up with a B, but I did not read one of those books.
Was it curved? He goes, I did not read one of those books. I spent most of my first year by myself. I had a roommate who told the campus that he didn't tell them he was bipolar. After a week, found out he was bipolar, so they kicked him off campus because he can't be on campus. It's not safe. My second roommate didn't come in till the end of the first semester, and then he left right at the beginning of the second semester, and I didn't know he was gay. And I used to come in the room in just my towel and shit all the time, like after showers and stuff, and I would hang out in my underwear and stuff. I had no idea he was gay. Zero clue. And one of my buddies was like, yeah, you know he was gay, right? I was like, what? I was like, there's no way he was gay. He's like, yeah, his boyfriend, like, he talked to me about you. He's like, yo, what is with this weird kid always around, always in his underwear and shit? I was like, damn, if I had known, I would have been a little more conservative with my, because I didn't know. I had no fucking clue.
You just thought it was like one of the guys.
Yeah.
That's what guys do.
Yeah, grow up, bitch. But it was so weird for me being involved in like this whole away from home, sort of trying to be on your own thing, deal with it. Actually, one of my buddies who was here last night, I met freshman year. And we've been friends ever since. Same thing with the guy who reached out to me last week. We've been friends ever since, met him the year before. But I really didn't talk to most of the guys who, you know, on campus. If you weren't on my floor, I didn't really know who you were. So like Dan Lynch was in my building, but he was on my floor all the time. That's why I knew him.
Oh, okay.
And I just kind of kept to myself, and I didn't have my first beer till the last week before finals, allegedly, playing Guitar Hero. I was like, yeah, man, I'll try one of those beers. It was a Labatt Black, or Labatt Ice.
Oof.
It was delightful.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No.
And then even second semester, I allegedly didn't really drink. Like, I would say I went most of the semester without drinking. I got really into poker and stuff like that, but I didn't really drink till the end of the semester. And then by the end of the second semester, I was allegedly having like blacklight beer pong parties. Everybody on the floor, everybody in my building knew, and everybody would come and they'd play. Because I was in a really small building at the far side of campus, so there was only like 15, 18 people per floor. And all the residential advisors were very cool, and they were very understanding. And as long as you were being respectful, they didn't care. Allegedly, they didn't care. I don't want to get me in trouble, but I used to just do it, and it was fine. We didn't get in trouble or anything like that, but I became part of my own, situation that was going on. I was the place to be on Friday nights.
Yeah.
It was my room. Once again, 167. And I found Guitar Hero. When I found Guitar Hero, I really stopped doing anything. I played so much Guitar Hero the end of freshman year. It was silly. I'm surprised I did better that semester than I did the first semester. And that was also the other thing, too, is I took too many classes. I had 20 credits my first semester and 19 my second. So I spent
a lot for your first year.
of time in classes because I was pre-med.
Oh, okay.
And then my teachers weren't very good at teaching. It was more like, go read this, come back, we talk about it, here's your next assignment. Versus me, who I need, I can read and learn, but I'm not going to do it as effectively unless it's something I'm really interested in. And that sucks.
That's exactly how I am.
Yeah. He can be like, here's a book on applications of bodybuilding or whatever it is. Like, let's say you're taking a physical class, like a phys ed class sort of thing. Here's the book, go read it, blah, blah, blah. Versus, and then we're going to talk about it, versus here's something that interests you. Why don't you read that? We discuss this. We express what this is. See if there's a way we can merge this into what we're doing or whatever it is. And obviously, there's a lot of different ways to teach people. But I was just involved in a lot of shit that I just wasn't interested in. You're talking to me about pygmies or birds or something like that, and you're not explaining to me how it's relative to human biology. I'm not going to pay attention.
Right.
I don't give a shit. And then you're just going to tell me to go home and read 3 chapters before Wednesday, and it's Monday, and it's like, I have 4 classes today, plus you, and then I have 4 tomorrow, and I have to read these chapters and do all this homework and shit. I was just so overwhelmed. I didn't do anything.
Yep.
My whole grade was based on
did.
Pop quizzes and tests and shit like that. Yeah. And a lot of these classes, what's sad is their homework was like 30%. Not doing the fucking homework.
See, I would do the homework but fail the test.
Okay.
Because I didn't read.
Yeah.
So I wasn't gonna pass the test.
So you were in class for your participation grade,
yeah.
But and they don't care at that point. You're there, they got your money.
Oh yeah, they're not going to go out of their way to help you.
Yeah, you're asking 17 and 18-year-olds who are away from home to be responsible for their own actions and make good decisions and spend, $40,000-$50,000 a year on education and make the right decision. That's what you're asking. You're asking children.
Yep.
Children to make the most educated decisions without any provocation or any direction in how to do these properly. Half of me thinks that I should have probably waited on going to college.
I totally agree with that.
Maybe 2-3 years and then do a 2+2.
Or went straight to community college, and done the 2+2.
Yeah.
Just get the basics out of the way.
Because then you can fuck up.
And you'd be at home.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just...
I changed my major 3 times.
I changed mine 3 times also.
I graduated with a degree in hospitality and a minor in biology. I was pre-med. You can see how far that took me.
Yeah.
But it's still like one of those, there's no help when you, if I don't even know if it's high school necessarily. It could be high school, but it's one of those, you need help. And your guidance counselor is supposed to be like, what do you want to do? And they don't care. They don't get any more money for helping you. They don't get any more incentive for helping you. It's, you're going to college. These are your choices. Make sure your applications are in and blah, blah, blah. They're trying to hold your hand to get you to the point, but they're not trying to get you to the point before you make your directions. You're already there at the crossroads. They don't care what the hell happened before then.
No, not
and
at
it
all.
Sucks. Because what would you have gone back for? Right now, let's say you could go back to college right now, redo 4 years for no money. What would you be going back for this second?
Communications.
Why?
Because I've always wanted to be a sports broadcaster.
Okay. What would that kind of entail? What kind of classes would you want to take? Where would you want to go? Would you look for jobs at certain radio stations or certain publications? Or what's the opportunities there?
I would probably do try to get an internship with a bigger organization.
Mm-hmm.
It depends. It depends on where I went. Everything could change in 4 years,
Probably be in California now if that's what you were doing. Sports broad, either New York City or California or something like that, probably.
I don't know if I'd want to be that big, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably want to be more local.
So, the guys who do the AM and FM station here, the sports stations?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty cool thing to do. That's interesting that you said communication from business. So what led you to business then?
The fact that it was supposed to be easy and you were supposed to just have so many options. It was a degree with a job.
Yeah. I always say business degree is one above liberal arts.
Pretty much.
Which is sad. Because I have a hospitality degree, and in my opinion, my hospitality, because I don't have a restaurant or a hotel specification. I have a back of the house specification. So my degree was all basic law, numbers, operations, people, human resources, planning, things like that, inventory numbers. That was my part. I was not a front end office in a hotel or working a restaurant or something. I was all everything behind the scenes. So that's my specialty. But everybody says hospitality, and they go, why don't you work at a hotel or restaurant? Well, that's not what my degree is in. I got a degree from the College of Hospitality effectively as a business degree. Because that's what it is. Because what did your business degree entail? Like, what kind of classes did you have?
I mean, you took the basics. You took finance. You took economics. You took HR. You took... because mine is so broad, I didn't specialize in any of them. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Do you feel like it benefited you to have gone to college?
No. No.
I feel like all it did was give me a slight edge on, you went to school, which means you're able to learn.
Yep.
And it's one of those, I got a $160,000 piece of paper that said I can learn. That's it.
Yep.
Because what it seems like now is most of the jobs that you get are not jobs that specialize. So like I had a buddy who got a job when we were in college. He was hotel focused, and he was doing front office work at a hotel while we were going to school. So he was earning minimum wage. And then right when we graduated, his hotel offered him a front office manager position. And I was like, oh, that's really good. I was like, what are you earning? He's like $10.50. Wait, so
Yes.
you just got $160,000+ sheet of paper, and you're making $10.50, and you're gonna stay here? Yeah, well, it's the opportunity I got. Blah blah blah. I'm gonna maintain it, and it's like you can go work in a goddamn warehouse right now for 12, 13, 14, $15. You can go do construction for that, and it's one of those like, oh, it's the risk. You know, you have a higher chance of injury and stuff like that. And I get that, but it should go hand in hand that if you are doing a job that requires now a degree just to get in, it should be a job that specializes and does require for good reason.
Right.
If you're going for a business degree and you're doing a job and it's like, here's the 2 jobs you applied for. The first one is like office administrator. The second one is what's something business would be good for in a general office setting?
I mean, just a general manager, like
let's say you become like a team lead in one department. Like those are the 2 job applications you're going for. One is a pseudo team leader to help with inside sales, something like that. I don't know. And then the other one is an office administrator. Well, they both require a 4-year degree, and the one pays $10 an hour, the other one pays $15 an hour. And then what you've also got at is they're going to be like, well, you don't have experience. Well, how am I supposed to get experience if you're not going to hire me? Well, you can do the office administrator job. Well, why the hell did I just get $160,000+ piece of paper if I'm going to get experience doing this job here
to make $10 an hour?
Doesn't require that.
Right.
And then they're like, oh, we'll go to a different industry. You're going to make more money. It's like, yes, but I didn't do that so that way I would have to go fucking work this other industry. I went to school to do an educated job. But now all they're doing is they're calling every job in the spectrum an educated job and requiring degrees for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Why waste my time? Why waste my money?
Exactly.
It sucks, dude. It's super
terrible.
depressing, dude.
It is.
I mean, the fact that I applied to so many jobs that were like required degree, and you look at the base pay and you're like, this doesn't even scratch the surface. And then 10 years ago, the same jobs didn't require degrees.
Yep.
Because now they're like, we need incentive to hire you. Bitch, what the fuck do you mean you need incentive to hire me?
And a lot of people that didn't go to college worked right away. Like, they're not, that doesn't mean they're lazy. That doesn't mean they're uneducated, unqualified. Like, no. They might be more qualified.
Oh, for sure.
But because they don't have that piece of paper and didn't put themselves in debt, they're not going to get the job.
Like, up until the job that I have now, I have a buddy who, he works as a... He works out in Batavia. He does some sort of like factory job or something like that. And he was making like 16, 17, 18 bucks an hour. No degree, no nothing. Another buddy of mine was working in a warehouse. He was doing the B shift, shit shift, but he was doing the B shift Monday through Friday. No degree, nothing like that. And he was making almost 20 bucks an hour. And it's like, I graduated college, I go to work in an office job, and I'm making 10 bucks an hour. And it's like, where is that right? How is that a thing? Like, right. And I'm not noticing that it's not a righteous thing. It's not a right thing. It's like, I deserve more. It's I know that those jobs are paying less because they have more people who are now going for further education, so they can afford to pay less because there's such demand for those jobs and the supply is so low. And it's one of those, well, you want the job, take the job, because otherwise you're going to go do this and you're not going to want to do that. It's the reason I don't do construction. I'm not built for construction.
Yeah, same.
And it sucks because even though the supply is low, they still don't provide a livable wage. And everyone's like, oh, you're not entitled to it. It's like, bitch, back in the 50s and 60s, anybody who worked a job, that was essentially a living wage.
Yeah, they could survive.
And now they're like, well, it's not the same now. It's like, yeah, I know it's not the same now. You're telling me it's not the same now. I know it's not the same now. Well, go get a different job. It's not that easy. The job market is not saturated.
Yeah.
It's very dried out.
It's very difficult.
I mean, look, two guys with degrees. Same thing. We're talking about the same kind. My wife has a degree in communications. She doesn't work in communications. She works in marketing.
Where did that come from? You know,
But that's what I,
like,
yeah. So many people that I know have degrees and shit and don't work in that field.
Oh yeah, like everyone I know.
I have a buddy who has a teaching degree who came on the show. He works on the salt mines because he earns way more money in the salt mines. He's like, if I had known, he goes, I wouldn't have gone for a teaching degree. He goes, I just would have started working on the salt mines. He goes, I'd be making $10,000, $15,000 more now than I was before, and I wouldn't have had to pay loans.
He'd be ahead, and he wouldn't have to pay his loans.
Yeah. But once again, when you're in high school and stuff like that, they're not like that. They're all about pushing you out the door, getting you onto bigger and better things. Mm-hmm. But they don't give you all the options. They give you this is what's supposed to happen because of this. And you're like, but why? Explain this to me. And they're like, this is what's supposed to happen because of this. You go to school, you graduate, you go to college, you graduate, you get a good job, you have a family. No. You should figure out what the hell you're doing.
That's not the world now. No. Maybe 50 years ago. I mean, they didn't go to college 50 years ago, a lot of them. But, no. I mean, it was step by step. Like, that's what people did. Now, not everyone does that.
I mean, look how depressing it is. When I worked one of my summer jobs, I worked in a warehouse. And there was guys in there in their almost 50s. And they're earning, like, $16 an hour. How long you worked here? 15 years? 15 years, and you're earning $30,000. So you're working to live. Yep. You take a vacation, you know what you do? You stay at home because you can't afford to go anywhere.
Exactly.
And it sucks. It's depressing, and it breaks my heart that that's where things are going. And everyone's like, "Well, it's not our responsibility to bring you up." It is. It's not your responsibility. I understand that, but opportunities are not there anymore. The market is not saturated. And I joked with the wife. I was like, all these people on Shark Tank, they made a living. I was like, after they quit their job, and she was like, maybe I'll quit my job. She's like, the hell you will. She's like, you just got a good paying job. But it's like one of those, like, is that what it takes to make it? Is you need to have absolutely nothing.
Exactly. It's sad that you have to be like broken down and torn apart to like build yourself back up again.
And it's also depressing, too, that our system does not build thinkers. It builds cogs. Think about what you learn in school. You learn in school how to learn what they're teaching you. You don't learn in school how to learn application. You know, you go to school, they're like, here's your math, here's your social studies, here's your sciences. You might take some tech classes, you might take some computer art classes, or whatever it is that you take. But you're not being taught how to learn. You're being taught how to be taught what they're telling you to learn.
Right.
So here's math. I'm teaching you 2 + 2 is 4. Okay, I'm also teaching you sine, cosine, and tangent. I'm teaching you multiplication, I'm teaching you division. Okay, I'm teaching you history. This is what happened here, this is what happened here, this is what happened here. I'm teaching you English. Here's a sentence. This is why the sentence is structured like that. And so on and so forth. But at no point in time are they saying, we're going to teach you how to learn. Instead of, why don't you read and repeat, read and repeat, read and repeat. Mm-hmm. 2 + 2 is what? Say it.
4.
Oh, look at that. Read and repeat. You didn't learn why 2 + 2 is 4. You just know that I told you it and you have to parrot it back to me. But they don't teach you how to learn.
Right.
Even college, which they pride themselves on their free thinking and philosophical people. I had fucking 3 mandatory philosophy classes and 3 mandatory religion classes that I had to take. Mm-hmm. I learned less about free thinking than I did about Aristotle's and how long it took him to take a shit every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it did not benefit me at all as an individual on how to become a better person at being a person.
No, not at all.
Did you have to take any of that shit at St. John Fisher or anything?
Yeah. I took... I did take a marriage and sexuality course. I mean,
Ooh,
it was
what's that?
Religion course, but I mean...
Tell me about this marriage and
The problem is, too, I mean, you've got websites like Rate My Professor, all those things. So you're looking for the easiest way out.
Yeah.
So I'm not, I mean, again, 17, 18, 19 years old, I'm looking to get my grade and get out. So no one's teaching me how to be taught to learn.
But let's say you have a business class. You have a finance class and it's an investment class, okay? You walk into two separate versions of the same class. The first version of the class is you sit down, they give you a finance and investment book. You read the finance and investment book. They talk about it in class. You take a test on the finance and investment book, right? Okay.
Right.
That's type 1. What did you learn in that class?
Nothing.
What did you learn in that class?
You didn't learn anything. You learned how to read.
Done. Okay. So now you go.
That's not finance, though.
Now you go to type 2. I walk into my finance and investment class, and I see a wall full of stock market charts and all that other bullshit. I see a wall that has information on stocks and bonds. I see one that has information on the real estate and the growth and the decline, and then big business and what their growth rates are. And I'm like, holy shit, what is all of this? And your professor looks and goes, this is finance. This is investment. This is what we're going to learn today. And they sit you down and they go, here's a stock, here's a bond, blah, 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 blah. What does that mean? Well, that means that a bond, if I invest into it, I'm going to get X out over time. I have to pay tax on that. So I need to leave it in long enough that the tax isn't more than what I'm going to take out. Oh, look at that. That's basic investments. Awesome. I just learned something. Here's a stock. What does stock mean? The arrow goes up. Here's the number. What does that mean for us? What's it mean, Dustin?
What does it mean? It means
Yeah,
making money.
I'm company A, my rate is $100, and my stock just went up 3 points. What does that
It
mean?
means we're making money.
How much money are we making?
3 points?
$100.
$3.
$3. How do you know that?
Because you just taught me.
I know that a point is $1. Yes. And I know I have 100 shares, which means I now made $3 times 100. I made $300. Holy shit. Okay, I'm part of this one. The arrow went down 6 points. What does that mean?
So you just lost $6.
I just lost $6 per share. The next follow-up question is, what do I do with the stock and why did it go down? What do I do with the stock? It didn't go down enough for me to really want to lose it. Why did it go down? Let's find out together. It's a farm. Cool. We look it up. Oh, we find out that farm had a subsidy thing that fell through. So the farmer had to, they lost an investor or something like that. So the value of their property went down because they were no longer backed up by this one investor. Holy shit. I just learned that somebody that invests in a product can affect the way that the market reads the value of that product. I didn't read that in a book. I didn't read in a book, when somebody comes out of an investment opportunity, the value of a purchaser or a stock does go down by a rate according to blah, 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 blah. You fucking go with the money or not at the other. And then you look at that and you're like, oh shit, that makes sense. And then you look at the board and there's like 7 other stocks that are going up and down. And you're like, I bet you... Now that I know that that's one reason why it might go down, I wonder if these had different reasons. And then you explore that and you look into it and you're like, well, this one only went down just because that's a natural flux. It seems like it goes up and down every year. And you just start to learn these things for application.
Right, you see the trends.
Versus going into a class and reading a book and reiterating what's in the book. But colleges claim that they're going to be teaching you how to think. Type A versus type B. They're still type A. They might have a little more, why do you think... Read the line. Why do you think that is?
They may ask you questions based on what you read, but they're still not teaching you.
No, because part of the teaching should be you should be able to answer the question on your own without listening to dick shit next to you 3 pages down who prides himself because he's got a 160 IQ, doesn't try, always comes in smelling like cigarettes and booze, gets aces on the test, and it just naturally comes to him. And that's the guy you gotta listen to, versus yourself, who you have to live with every day, who dick shit's not gonna be in your entire life. You need to learn how to think. You need to learn how to do.
Right.
You get in the real world and you still spend years where everybody's not helping you learn how to do you. Just go in, change this, do that, do this thing. Why? Well, it doesn't matter. Just do it because I said it.
Right. No one wants to take... That's the problem. No one wants to take the time anymore, either.
It's not even that. They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
You're at that point where it's like, do it because I said to, or get the fuck out. And you're like, how is that functioning society? How did you learn your shit, man? I learned it by doing it. How else? Did you have a mentor? Did you have a guide? Did you have anything like that? And a lot of times, like, it just goes back and they're like, oh, I did. Holy shit. Somebody took a second and was like, let me help you out. And I distill that to the gym. The same thing. When I had started off, I wish somebody had come and took me under their wing and been like, I'm going to help you. I don't know everything and you know nothing. but by the time we're done here, you will know more. I didn't know 3x10 was nothing. I didn't know everybody who I admired and I looked up to and stuff like that were on performance-enhancing drugs or were dialed up in Photoshop or something like that. I didn't know that the pipe dream that I was fishing for was impossible. Somebody had been like, yeah, they're all on juice. Oh, shit, you just told me Santa Claus isn't real.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's selfishness, because now you're raised in a society selfish. You go to class, oh, Dustin doesn't understand what we read yesterday. Joke's on Dustin.
Yeah, you're almost afraid to ask a question.
And then you're so far behind because you didn't get an answer.
Yep.
And then you get caught in a situation where kids don't know how to make decisions, and then you make shit decisions, and then you're left with the repercussions of those decisions. But what you're taught instead is everybody's even, everybody's fair. We're all beautiful human beings. But that doesn't pay the bills.
No.
That just pays your ego. And then when you get out and you get pissed off because shit didn't go your way, oh, blah, blah. There's a fucking kid who was suing a college, I think it was last year, for the fact that they said when they went to school, they were told that they were going to get out and get a good job. They got out, they didn't get a good job, they had debt, their things defaulted, blah, blah, blah. They sued the college. I think they won. I haven't looked it up yet, but I'm pretty sure they won. Because if somebody can win a lawsuit for spilling hot coffee on their crotch against McDonald's, what's to say that some student can't propose a good argument against a college that you promised me this? That's the society we live in. Give it to me. Give me. I don't want you to give me shit. I just want you to help me.
It's sad that we have to resort to that, though.
But that's what it is. That's a quid pro quo. If I can't get it on my own, or you're not willing to help me, I'm going to fucking take it.
Exactly.
Imagine if that's how it was. Like, I'm going to use the gym as a reference again. Imagine if that's how the gym was. You got some dude who's on a bench press, and you're like, hey, man, could you give me a hand? Can I get help or something like that? And he's like, no, fuck you. And you just run over, you shove him off the bench while he's got a barbell or something. You're like, eat my ass, bro. And then you just get jump on the bench, you start doing it. You're like, it's all about being the best, bitch. Like, it's just like, imagine, like, that's the selfish world. It's terrible. Dry. Have you heard those? Do you listen to sports talk radio?
Once in a while.
They have that commercial where it's like, let's increase everybody's ability to be a nice human being. Why don't we treat everybody like we do in our everyday life? And it simulates people who having road rage, but in everyday life. And it's like, they're standing in line, and the kid's like, I want a piece of candy. And the mom's like, all right, pick a candy. The woman behind is like, come on. And then the kid's like, I don't know what I want. And the mom's like, come on, honey, we're holding people up. And the woman behind's like, if you're not going to do anything about it, I am. Get out of my way. And you can tell that they're like in line checking out. And the kid's like crying and shit. She's like, you're taking too long to cash out. Like a wedding reception or something, and they're like, oh, it was a beautiful wedding, and the guy cuts in line. He's like, oh, it's just the receiving line. And like, you can simulate somebody like merging it or something like that, and somebody's like, hey man, you cut in line. He's like, get out of my way. You just punch in the face. You're like, stop the senselessness of road rage. And I'm like, that is a funny commercial. That didn't help because I'm still gonna have road rage. But I'm gonna remember this from now on when I'm merging in traffic. I'm like, sorry, I have to. Sorry. Louis C.K. did that bit too. He was talking about everybody doesn't give a shit about anybody when you're in a car. I need to turn here. I'm so sorry. Over 6 lanes of traffic. I'm sorry. This is my favorite way. And you're like, that's so fucking true. Nobody cares because everybody's selfish as shit.
Yep.
It's like, I like to, I don't have a car with performance now. I like to drive like an old man. I enjoy my music, my podcast, whatever it is I'm listening to. But I typically drive the speed limit in the right lane casually, because I get to watch so many dickheads make such shitty fucking mistakes and choices on the road. You're just like, we're at the same light again. It's good to see you, man. Oh, the light turned green. I'll see you at the next light, bro. And then 2 minutes later, they're parked there.
just fuming. Absolutely fuming.
It's because they're hoping they'll get to that split second where they'll just be able to get through it.
You just see the steam coming out of their ears.
It's so messed up, dude.
Ridiculous.
Do you have any goals or any plans that you set this year for your beautiful New Year's resolution?
I don't do the whole New Year's resolution thing.
You're going to do it right now with me.
I just want to get better.
You can do it right now with me.
Be a better person than I was.
What does that mean?
Year.
Don't just say be a better person.
What's that?
What do you mean be a better person? What does that mean?
I mean, I want to get stronger. I mean, I'd like to go see my family more. Are
you saying you're a bad person? That's why you want to be better?
Not a bad person.
Do you want to be better at being bad?
I don't think we're all bad. I don't think any of us are bad people.
Well,
I mean, there are bad people. But.
I mean, now that we're in January, it's one of my favorite things to do is find out. It's not necessarily a resolution. It's just what is your goal this year for you as a human being? And obviously you want to get stronger. You want to spend more time with family. What else do you want to do? What changes do you want to make?
I want to educate myself more. I want to put more effort into learning new things. And find a better job that actually pays the bills.
Yeah, we're gonna work on that.
Yeah,
but so, what can you do to help yourself with those middle two goals?
I mean, I can put that thing down.
Well, you said I'm not talking about the family. I'm not talking about the job. I'm talking about learning more and becoming better educated. Like, what do you want to learn? What do you want to become more educated? What kind of involvement do you want?
The world.
Come on, dig, go, dig. What interests you right now? Like, what's going on that you want to learn about?
I mean, anytime anyone talks about like politics, I mean, I don't need to be a politician, but I want to know what the fuck they're talking about.
So, what interests you? Like, what conversations?
Like the whole, like the new tax bill. Like, I didn't pay. I don't read it. Like it just because everything is so skewed.
Which
to
tax
one
bill?
side. Like Trump's new tax bill. Blah, blah.
I'm not familiar. What's going on?
I'm not familiar either. I don't read about it.
No?
I've just heard a few things.
That's what sucks. I'm the same exact way, and I claim ignorance last year, and somebody's like, "It's your responsibility to vote." Blah blah blah. Well, little known fact, only 50% of Americans voted in the last presidency, and I think it was 10 or 12% voted for like the Independent Party. Another 6% voted for weird ones, and the rest of that was all for Trump and Hillary. So it's not my responsibility if half of all of us know it's a fucked up idea to vote for someone who we don't want.
Exactly.
Gary Johnson, 2020.
Like, why am I going to vote just because someone says that I have to?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want either of them.
You don't have to. You're entitled to your right not to.
Exactly.
And I express that right. Do you vote?
No.
No?
Never
If you had
have.
voted this year, who would have voted for?
I mean, Trump, but only because I don't like Hillary. So.
Well, there's other options. There's Green Party. There's Solar Party. There's Independent.
But you know they're not going to win.
Yeah, but there has to be a point where a shift is happening. Like, I don't know if you know who Gary Johnson is.
Yeah.
But he is fiscally conservative and he is socially liberal. It's beautiful. I agree with that 110%. I agree that we need to have a more tight financial state with this government, but we also need to be more liberal when it comes down to the things that we do with involvement of other people and some of the laws and stuff that we have in effect that deal with just our everyday and our liberties and things that we can and can't do. And it's beautiful. And it would be such a tidal wave if someone like Gary Johnson or something like Gary Johnson, he got elected. I think he was Arizona. He's an independent, but he ran under the Republican flag because he knew he would not win as an independent. And then he won as a Republican, and I think the next year he ran as an independent, and he won again. So he was still an independent the whole time, but...
Right.
And everybody bitches at me because I don't vote, and I tell everybody, it's like, I don't vote because I don't know enough to vote. They're like, well, you need to educate yourself.
Exactly.
In it. And I'm like, I don't have time. I have other shit. It's your responsibility. No, it's my responsibility to feed myself, clothe myself, make sure I don't kill anybody else, and follow as many of the laws this government has put forth for me, almost all of them, that I possibly can. Those are my responsibilities. It is my choice not to vote because I cannot make an informed decision. And I said this, and somebody's like, well, that's fucked up. I was like, there should be a small test you take before you vote. It's not to make you able to vote. It's to just kind of align with you and show you who you may or may not agree with more. It's a simple questionnaire. It's got policy questions like, this policy does this, this, and that. What is your view on that? And then it gives you a couple bullet points and you answer one. That one might align with Trump. It doesn't tell you to the end. You answer 6, 7 questions, and then at the end it's like your ideal candidate is Bernie Sanders, or Johnson, or Hillary. And you might have been the whole time like, yeah, Trump for president 2018, and then you find out that half of the policies that you looked at and your opinion on them are Gary Johnson. And none of them were Trump at all. But yet you're going to vote for this guy because he's the big name and he's a Republican. And I feel like it would just be a nice, interesting way to kind of solicit information from people. Because most of the time people don't know why the hell they're voting for people. Or they're misinformed. I had a dude be like...
That's precisely why I don't vote.
There's a dude who was like, I don't know who's voting for Hillary, man. Everybody I talk to is voting for Trump. I was like, do you have a lot of Republican friends? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, that's fucking why. I was like, if you had Democratic friends, they'd be voting for Hillary. He's like, well, she's just a criminal, blah, blah, blah. I was like, and Trump's a dickhead. I was like, we're not talking about that. I was like, we're talking about who we're voting for. I was like, and obviously most of your friends are Republicans. I was like, I know a ton of people who vote for Hillary. And I looked at two people next to me. I was like, you're voting for Hillary, right? And they both looked over and they said, yeah. And he was like, who you voting for? I was like, I don't vote. Oh, well, you don't have a horse in this race. I was like, I never said I did. I didn't even claim to know.
Just asked a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to know who your friends were. Because apparently you don't give a shit. And apparently all your friends are, Republicans. And that's fine. But don't make a blanket statement like, I don't know who's going to vote for that person. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you're just being stupid. You're just being an idiot. Like, this makes no fucking sense. And I'll agree with you on that. Is there anything else that, like, really interests you that you kind of, like, want to learn more about?
Not right now.
Well, Dan ran for city council, right?
I did hear that, yeah.
He lost. Very small margin, but he lost.
He did pretty well for...
Didn't do any, like, advertisement or anything. That's really cool to know somebody that close to us who was just running for council. And it's like, dude, you got so close. He's talking about moving to Fairport and running in Fairport.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, dude, that would be cool, man. That could change everything for you. Like, just having that kind of insight. Because he's a very, very, very brilliant person.
I've never really talked to him, but I've overheard him a few times, and he's very intelligent.
I could tell everybody. We didn't like each other when we first met him. That was my perception. He said I was wrong.
The egos?
No, I just didn't think he liked me.
Oh.
And then...
He has that look where you don't think he likes anybody.
He's like you up front, very quiet,
Yeah.
very kind of quarantined a little bit. But he's just like, it's just how I am with everybody. And I was like, okay, that makes more sense. But we're very, like, because we think about shit. Like, I have a whole list of questions in here, like, on different websites and stuff that, like, when we used to work out together, I'd be like, all right, man, what's the QOT, man? And I'll open it up and I'll read one off, and it'll just be like, it might be a philosophical question. It might be a what-if superhero question in that day. It might be, like, a sciencey question, like a perspective question or something like that. And we just dig into it for an hour and a half while we're working out and just try to process it and break it down and see what's what about it. Like, I had a theory one day. I was like, could there be a set of humanoids in another planet if the periodic table was shifted to different sets of elements? And he's like, well, what does that mean? I was like, well, what if carbon wasn't carbon? What if number one was something else, or O was something else? Whatever it was something else. I was like, what if every single thing that we have in ours is different somewhere else just because of another, electron, proton, neutron, something else that's in that universe that's not here, and there's something here that's not there? I was like, do you think there could be humanoids? Like, what would they look like? Could they be us? Could they process the same way? Is it because of what we're composed of that we process this way? And we just kind of delve into it. It was like a little sci-fi day. And we did like 2 hours of this shit, and it made no sense. It was nothing. It was a nothing conversation, man. It was going absolutely nowhere. But it was a good way to spend 2 hours and just think about it. You're like, whoa, man, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, at least you're using your brain. I mean, you could be sitting there on that thing, just texting between sets or whatever,
Well, like, I looked up a couple teachers last night to reach out to at some of the schools. There's an astrophysics teacher that I want to talk to who has been studying astrophysics for 30 plus years or something like that. Some other educators, somebody who's doing like working on nanobots and nanotech and stuff like that. Like, I was like, these are so cool. I want to talk to somebody who's doing metaphysics. There's a metaphysics professor at one of the colleges. You know what metaphysics is? It's just physics around us, like questions about like above us, sort of. And I looked at this guy the one day who came through when I used to work at the dealership. I was like, oh, metaphysics. So I was like, is there a God? And he just looks back at me. He goes, the question isn't if there is or isn't a God. The question is if there is, you can perceive a God. And I was like, oh, boom. Fucking crazy. And he just walked away. I was like, God damn, that guy won. That guy was but like all these awesome professors and people doing this crazy research. It's like, I just want to talk to you, man. What are you doing? What's going on with you? Like my cousin-in-law, not a thing. My cousin-in-law, he works for the laser labs, and they're trying to like expose electrons, neutrons, or protons, something like that, to extreme high levels of radiation to get a reaction from them. He's been working on this for years, and he's got papers published and stuff like that. And I was like, explain this to me. And he's like, does the blanket like, oh, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, no, dude, I really am like interested. Like, tell me more about this. Like, what are you actually doing? And he's trying to give me information. I was like, oh shit. And I grabbed his paper and I started drawing stuff down. He goes, no, it's like this. And he changes stuff. And I was 100% involved. And for the first time, I could tell that was the first time someone's actually been interested in what he's talking about, to a point where they're like help me understand what you do on a daily basis. Yeah. And I'd love to do that with like some of these other educators and professors and just inform people around town. Just like, what do you know that I don't know? Help me learn your shit. Yeah. Master your craft.
Like that's kind of what I just want to learn. different things.
You should tune into the podcast. You'll learn a couple things.
I will.
Oh, I bet you will, Dante. I bet you will, you little carpetbagger. It's cool, though. I don't mind that this is taking forever to grow. It's been a couple months right now, and it's just kind of... I hit the point last night where I sent tons of emails, and I got a whole bunch queued up that I'm going to send out. And I got to figure out a way to propose it to people where it's not like, I'm a creepy guy who has a show in his basement. No, because I have a studio. The sound padding is all going up and everything like that to try and bring it more. It's a presentable field. Yeah, I have nerdism shit here because that's who I fucking am. I'm not going to silence that, but it's one of those, like, you have to explain it to people in a way where they're attracted to the idea of being able to talk about themselves and express the things that they know. And I'm not going to chop anybody's head off unless you say some racist, bigot ass shit. Then we're going to get into it because I can't do that. Beautiful, though. I love it. I'm hoping we can really help you out with this job thing. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be a real big change for you.
That would be nice.
Everybody knows the 4-year struggle, right? I'm not surprised on how many people that I know that are still struggling with that stuff, though. Like finding work.
It's ridiculous.
Like even my brother's an example. He went to college and stuff like that. He's been working at, a food place for a while. He just finally got another car, and he's finally got his own wheels and transportation. He's like, I just need some management experience or something so I can try to go somewhere else and do it. He goes, but I want to go back to school and be like a legal aid or something, paralegal or something like that. I was like, then figure that out. Well, it takes time and money. Figure out how to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
No one else is going to do it but you. Figure your shit out, man. I'm not going to help you do it. I'll be there for you if you need something from me, but I'm not going to fucking give you the money for it. I don't got the money for it. This is crazy, man. So what's 2018 got in store for you besides all the seeing more family and friends? Got any big plans coming up this year? Vacations, trips, locales? Getting a new car?
Nothing yet.
No.
Well, if I can job, I'll have to get a new car.
There's the claps, the silent claps. I love it. That's cool, though.
The golf clap.
But I'm really hoping this year comes up Dustin, getting the job, getting the gym lifts up and stuff like that. I'm really pulling for you because now that I know that you want, like, to kind of like educate yourself on certain things, I'm going to do for you what I've been doing for a couple of people. I'm keeping tabs on you. Hey, man, so what have you learned? What you going on with? I'm going to be that asshole. I'm going to be like your dad. I'm just going to be really looking down, trying to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
I don't doubt that.
Oh, it's going to be great. I'm going to be in the gym. Dustin, what's going on in politics today? Because that's the only example you gave me.
Yeah, I mean, anything. Like, just anything, whatever's popular in the news.
Does something tickle your fancy?
Not really. No. I mean, no.
Really?
Yeah.
So, like, for me, I love science. I love physics. I love theories. All that shit.
See,
like, you're not interested.
I mean,
by that?
I love sports. Like, I will be the guy that looks at ESPN and looks at the box score and the statistics and reads the whole like game thread recap.
So what sports do you follow then?
Everything. Basketball, football.
Are you following any of this
college.
pre-draft stuff?
A little bit. Yeah, the fucking Giants. I don't even want to get into the Giants right now.
I don't know what happened with you guys. Did you guys get rid of Eli this year?
No, we still have him under contract, but it's not looking good for him. He might compete for the job, or if they find the right offer, they might.
He is the greatest NFL interviewer of all time. We wanted to play football. I think we wanted to win, and we tried to win. I mean, we didn't win, but, we did. I threw the football a couple times. Some of them got caught, some didn't get caught. Like, dude, thank you so much. I'm so happy you can read a fucking prompt to just... the breakdown chart. That dude is so bad. I can't believe that dude has 2 Super Bowl rings.
It is pretty impressive.
If I get a hold of one of the Wonderlic tests, will you take it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a gang of the guys, especially for next year's draft. I was like, we're still going to do the field stuff. I was like, but if I can get a hold of a Wonderlic, I'm going to have everybody take the Wonderlic, and then that will affect part of your score. Just because that'll be something everybody can do. I was like, this would be so fun to do because we're still going to do the whole sports events thing. Yeah. We take a couple hours and do some events and then rate them and stuff like that. Because that was a killer this year. Everybody loved that. That went off without a hit. It took a lot of work on my part, dude.
Yeah, I believe it.
Took a lot of work. Because what else do I have to do in my fucking life than hold everybody else's hand and make awesome decisions? For those who don't know, this year for our fantasy football league, what we did is I set up a bunch of events, 8 events, and there was probably 13 or 14 of us. out of the 22 people in the league,
Yeah.
and we all did the events. And then based on where you placed, that's where your scores came through, and then they added up, and that determined your draft order. And if you did not show up, you chose proxies for all the events. You were not allowed to be above anybody who actually showed up to the event. So all the proxy people fought out for the bottom few picks and shit like that. So, but it was so popular that right after we were done, like weeks later, people were like, "Oh, next year, man, we gotta do this event, and yo, we should do that again." I was like, "Bitch, we just did it. We hadn't even started. We haven't even drafted yet, and you're ready to do it again."
We should just scratch Sunday football and just do combine every week.
Every week combine. Just so you can get really good at some silly shit. That would actually be really funny as like a sort of way to keep up with your physicality and stuff. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that I wanted to bring up is, I don't know, maybe you have a different opinion than me, but this year, because I noticed I spend a lot of time in the gym. So like if I show up at 4, I leave at 6 or 6:30. If I show up at 5, I'm gone at 7:30 sometimes. Whatever it is. One of the things that I want to make sure I do this year is I add different things to my athletic repertoire, because you never know at what time you're going to get pulled out of something. And there's been times at the gym where I've had really bad injuries and I've had to try and work around them. So this year, what I'm going to try and do is every Wednesday, I'm going to do something different. Whether it be I go outside and I do sprints, because I hate sprints. Like sprints, battle rope.
You're not a sprinting guy.
I'm not, but I'm good at sprinting. I had the third fastest sprint at the combine.
Well, when you get moving,
the tank. But no, so what I want to do is I want to use Wednesdays as like a day to go do something else. So maybe I'll go to the Ninja Gym one day. Maybe I'll go to Rock Ventures. Maybe I'll go to Red Barn. Maybe I'll do sprints one day. Maybe I'll do like trail running one day. Maybe it'll be like battle rope sprints and medicine ball tosses or football routes and passing and stuff like that. Add something new to my repertoire, so that way the middle of the week, the normal day that I should be taking off from a 2 heavy day split to a 2 light day split, I can go and do something fun. Something different, something crazy. Maybe I'll get some discs and we go play disc golf one Wednesday or something like that.
There you go.
Like I'm trying to get a gang of guys so that we can all commit to this, so that way there's like a different fluctuation of shit. And then it just adds like a little bit of flavor to it, because if you spend all your time, I can't tell you how many years I have been doing Monday through Friday every week in the gym, and how much time I've missed outside, being able to enjoy the weather, enjoy the sun, getting to have fun with other people doing stuff. Because the gym in its own is kind of like a solo thing. Whether you're getting spot or you're still talking to people between sets, it's just you. But if it's like 6 or 7 of us out there and we're frothing or something like that, and we're dicking around, we're just having a good time, spend 2-3 hours out there. It's a very different like sort of athletic appeal than just the gym thing. So yeah. I'm rallying the crew. Even one day we go to the golf course or one of the driving ranges. We just hit balls for a day. I don't know if you play golf or not.
I do play golf.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm trying to get better.
I'm terrible at it.
I'm falling in love with golf, and I don't know if I like it or not because I'm so bad.
We can go to Durand. It's right around the corner.
Yeah.
That's the only place I've really been. Durand Park is really nice, especially with how shitty I am. If I can fix a couple things, I'm pretty sure I can be pretty okay at it. I get lucky with some of my hits.
Oh, yeah. That's the joy of golf. It's when that happens.
I do cut it a lot. So when I hit it, it goes... I'm like, fuck yeah. I do my best to square up, shoulders are locked, and I'm like, okay. You know Charles from the gym?
No.
He usually works out on the CrossFit side. He does the powerlifting and comes onto our side. I always yell to him. I'm like, Charles Theron. Handsome guy, white shirts, black shorts, always shorter, dark hair. He's probably about 6'1", 6'2".
I've probably seen him.
He came to my bachelor party a couple of years ago, but he plays really well, and he's always talking about like, dude, let's go to the driving range, let's do this, let's get better. You gotta come, let's go do this. So I'll probably hit him up for that, but he's good for a big guy. He's good.
Yeah, my buddy's pretty good too.
I'm always surprised when like bigger guys are good at golf, because it's a really flexible sport.
Yeah.
It's weird, all that torque, bitch. I don't know. We're going to do that now. Now that I know that you're somewhat interested, I'm going to poke you. This will be my new drive. Instead of doing football, this will be my new drive. Is trying to get everybody to do something, every week or every other week or something like that. Just to add some flavor. Mix some shit up, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I love being in the gym, but at the same time, like, it's nice to get out, do different things.
And we used to do it on Fridays during the summer, but honestly, on Friday, if I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to be in and out an hour. The last thing I want to do is spend more time like...
Most people are checked out. They don't want to show up to something. It's almost like a happy hour on Friday. Yeah.
So at least if it's like, hey, it's Wednesday, hump day, man. Let's go to Red Barn, dude. Everybody, $5. You can get in Red Barn. We can climb for 3-4 hours, dude. I got a bag of chalk. You rent the shoes. You get in. I think it's $8 total. And you can be in there as long as you want.
That's not bad.
And you fucking free climb. That's a different kind of workout altogether, man. So I'm gonna work this, and I'm gonna get a bunch of the dudes, and whatever, we're gonna work it. We're gonna try and have some fun shit this year. I'm pressing it, bitch. Hell, we can even go play paintball one fucking Wednesday. I don't care.
Paintball.
Yeah, at Invasion or something like that.
I've never been a paintball guy.
I just like shooting people. He goes, I'm gonna go home and play Call of Duty, guys. We're gonna get you a stationary bike so you can play Call of Duty and pretend like you're really running. Every time you run, you got a stationary bike.
There you go. That'll work.
We always said that with like Biggest Loser, was we wanted to get like a treadmill and a stair stepper. I'll stair stepper during the episodes, and the wife would do like the bike or something like that, so we feel like we're doing something while these baddies are getting their ass beat. I miss that show. I'm so sad it got canceled. It broke my heart, man. It was such a good show, dude. Especially after Jillian Michaels left, because she was just so mean. She was so ruthless.
She's terrible.
But they had those other 3 people, and they were really good. I can't remember the one guy's name.
I don't
know. Or the girl's name, or the other guy's name. Holy crap. I can tell that I paid attention. I just know Bob. The trainer Bob. Oh, the trainer Bob. We're rambling, guys. We're going to cut it loose right now, and I'm very excited to have introduced you to my dear friend Dustin. If anybody wanted to get a hold of you for absolutely no fucking reason, because you're a completely boring human being.
I am a pretty boring human being. I do not do a lot.
Dustin works out at World's Gym Monday through Friday. He's usually there around 5,
Saturdays
6.
too, sometimes.
Huh? Saturdays too, sometimes. So he's usually at World's Gym downtown. He's obviously, which GNC you at?
Penfield
GNC. And if anybody wanted to get a hold of you, shoot the shit, see if they wanted to become best friends with you, how would they do that?
They don't.
He has a Facebook page. You can come to the Life on Record page. Find me, and then through me, you'll find Dustin. Okay?
They don't want that.
Well, buddy, I'm happy you kind of came on and did this for me. I'm happy we got to kind of dive in a little bit, find out where you're from and what your interests are. As talkative as you are, I really appreciate you coming on and doing this for me, big guy.
I tried.
Thanks, big guy.
Thank you.
Goodbye.